Morning, little early today. I start with the national anthem, revised one. I am just singing this revised national anthem, which I revise myself for sake of my satisfaction. You may follow it; it's up to you, because I am not going to respect Sindh in my song. Sindh is not my area. This is not in Bharat, and I am not going to accept only that there should be four states in our song. For example, Jangan or Jaya Bharat Bhagya Vidata, Punjab, Sindh, Gujarat, Maratha. These are only names there. Only Punjab, Sindh doesn't belong to us. And Gujarat, Maratha. What about other states? So I want to extend respect to all states. जन गण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत संविधान भारत भाग्य विधाता जम्मू कश्मीर हिमाचल पंजाब हरियाणा राजस्थान यूपी उत्तराखंड बिहार गुजरात एमपी मराठा द्राविड़ तेलंगा आंध्रा केरला कर्नाटका वंगा विंध्य हिमाचल तावी यमुना गंगा सरस्वती कृष्णा ब्रह्मपुत्रा उच्छल जल्दी तरंगा तब शुभ नामे जागे तब शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तब जय गाथा सर्वधर्म नागरिक भारत विधाता जनगण मंगल नायक जय हे भारत संविधान भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जयो 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 हे जय भारत सुजलम सुफलम मलयशीतलम सहस्या श्यामलम मातरम वंदे मातरम जय भारत जय संविधान Suraj Singh, back to you for engineering talk of construction, talk of quality, and talk of various other parameters, on top of which quality is a criteria. I have been explaining to you with my complete knowledge whatever I have based on my educational qualification and decades long experience. Decades long in it means that I qualified my engineering diploma in 1974, and then I passed my engineering degree from Institution of Engineers India Bharat in 1980. So you can say, if you consider from my degree time, since my degree I passed 1980 to today, which is about 40 years, and if you consider from previous one that was in 1975, so a little more, many more years, it doesn't make a difference as far as experience is concerned. Everybody has different types of experiences in life. Everyone has different approach post qualification. That experience counts. That experience makes a man or anyone. If you want to understand someone, you have to know background of that person, because direct degrees from university cannot tell you what you are. Yes, it can tell you means what you should be, but your experience, your involvement in public life, your involvement in private life, and your involvement in industries make you a different person. It's not that I am excellent. No, I cannot say I have many defects, I have many deficiencies, and that's what I want to see my deficiency through you guys. You all may be young, maybe fresh, maybe budding, maybe new, and maybe ordinary citizen. It doesn't make a difference as far as you respect humanity and you respect quality system, you respect safety system. I am calling system because nowadays system is more important than in isolation activity. I am interested in quality. It's not only that it is construction quality, quality everywhere. First quality should be quality citizen. Quality citizen means it doesn't mean that you are a citizen only. You should be a citizen with responsibility. I'm just explaining to you, I'm not going to depth of that. For example, you are citizen of this country, this is Bharat, this is India. How much you understand, how much do you understand about the citizenship? That is a point I want to raise. I think many of you, maybe 95 to 98% of you people do not understand meaning of citizenship except its translation that you are Nagrik of this country, nothing else. Yes, you know there is something that rules you, and you know that there is no rule, there is no law, there is no order. That is all different. My point is, as citizen, what should you do for your country and what do you expect your country to do for you? Have you ever gone through this criteria? Your citizenship doesn't mean it limits to democracy. No. It limits to sovereignty. No. It limits to republic status. No. Or it is socialism or secularism. No. These are fundamentals only. On top of that lies your nature, your understanding how you take this society as Bharat. And all other countries have to think that way. Until you take, you take this point in your mind, I have to improve my nation, I have to improve my society, I have to improve my family, and I have to improve myself. You cannot do anything. You cannot just flow in river. It is easy to flow in flow direction, but it is very difficult to flow in reverse direction. In which direction water is flowing, in which direction people are moving, it's very easy to move in that direction. But if you do in opposite direction, means if you conflict with others, you have different approach, you have opposing power, you are not easily accepted. Whether or not you are accepted, it doesn't make a difference to me as an individual. To an extent, I am clear to myself, I am answerable to myself, and as a person, I can justify something. Or if other person doesn't understand, even then I least bother because I have calculated that I am right. I am right to that point of order. If that goal I achieve in every affairs of life, then I can claim that my work is based on satisfactory quality and satisfactory volume. How many citizens can think like this? I cannot say everybody would think because citizens are having many classifications from those who know nothing literally and those who know everything literally and those who have nothing with them and those who have everything with them. That's a point we have to understand. Very important point. I don't know who's coming in. Let me talk to him for a few seconds. That person who has come in. Yes, please. Good morning. Hello. Hello. Good morning. Yes, please. I'm fine, thank you. I'm okay, fine. Yeah. Yes. Okay. Anything you want to ask? Any question? Just you call only? Only you call for good morning? Only you call for good morning? You're not sleeping? You are not sleeping? Why? You don't want to sleep? Are you studying? Are you studying? Then why don't you sleep? Huh? Oh, that's nice. That's nice. Do your work then. Do your work. What are you doing? What are you doing? Sorry? Huh? Okay. Okay, good. I am from Faridabad. I am civil engineer. I am just talking to people for quality control. That is my daily talk. I am interested in that to improve quality, to improve. I am a civil engineer, basically. Yeah. I'm talking to people about how to do this because it's very bad status in our country. I just want to educate people. Yeah. Okay. Okay, fine. Thank you very much. Well, okay, fine. So continue. There was some person coming in from somewhere to talk about something. Sorry to disturbance. Sorry for this. But what to do? People keep on coming. I cannot annoy them. After all, this is also their right. Sunday morning, a person is not sleeping, doing something busy like me. It's okay. Means you have to keep busy. It doesn't matter what time you're talking about. It's medium, and we should make positive use of this free medium like Facebook. People are abusing this medium. I know it doesn't make it. This is what I'm talking quality. What quality are still in your example is this Facebook itself. You use it for blue films, use it for sexual videos, or you use it for national development, you use for education. You can use this medium your way. That same thing it applies to you. I have seen very and those misled people, misled young youth who are very young and they are misled in this direction. Well, it's not their fault, it's a social fault. Society did not train them, they are not having education, they are having poor background, and they are misled. Everybody can be misled. I was also misled sometime. You can also be misled. So that is also a part of quality, I can say. Quality living. If you are not properly educated, or forget even education, you are not extended proper status of your culture, you cannot do anything. You only miss that because you are too young. Until you have maturity status where you can decide to accept something your way, you have to define your criteria your way, then you can move further. But some deficiencies there, and this happens everywhere in world. After all, maturity level of every persons are different, and that is where I connect it to quality everywhere. Quality of life, we say, always say quality of life this person is having, but we say, oh, this person is having money, this person is having wealth, this person is having good car, this person is having good status, means this person has good education, good job. Only you say this person is quality person according to your criteria of measurement. But my criteria of measurement is a little different. You can do whatever you want to do for your own sake. You can move in whatever direction, but you have to help this earth. Like, remember, earth. Why I'm talking of this planet? Earth means lithosphere, the solid part of earth, and air. This is also your responsibility as a world citizen, as your national citizen. Being national citizen you have also a responsibility towards that. That is where quality counts. Only your personal or family status doesn't make total quality. How you react to nature, how you react to citizens of other country, how you react to societies, economies of other country, that is also a part of quality. I'm talking of quality in engineering construction, but this is also a part of engineering. How you conduct yourself in your country, we have to see as Bharatvasi, as our citizenry, are we responsible? You have to check yourself. Are you responsible? Do you call yourself a good person? When you spoil everything in your country, you cannot name yourself a good person because, first of all, you don't know what is good to be called a good person. Having good clothes, good car, good scooter, good motorcycle, good house, and good food and enjoying life does not mean that you are a good person. You may drink all day, you may smoke. You are first of all spoiling yourself, then you spoil others. How can it be called good? You are only interested in getting job and live. just for comfort, just for pleasing your life. This is good for you, but not good for everyone. We all are interconnected by nature itself. We are not indispensable in society. We have to depend upon each other. You cannot say, I can survive myself at all levels. That is not possible. Because society got every activity in it to do. For example, you are taking food and you are disposing out night soil, human excreta. You have to take care of that human excreta also. Otherwise, it will give you back its negative impact. That is where it lies. Question lies. Means whatever you use, that should be taken care of when it is abused. For example, we use transport, we use cars, scooters, motorcycles, trucks, buses, trains, everything. We use, but we only use. We don't worry about that after that. We use, we leave that and go home. We never think, I use that, but what shall happen after that? You go to toilet and discharge your night soil. After that, you know it will go to pipeline, sewer line, and then someone will take care of that. But remember, there was a time where there was no sewer line. Maybe you're not sure about that. If you talk to your people, your seniors and veterans, they may know, they may tell you, yes, there was nothing. There were open drains or not even drains sometimes. They just used to somewhere else, and this was collected by some people and transported somewhere else. That is where I'm talking. We have, after all, improved some quality status if you compare it to that era and to this era. So quality plays its role everywhere. Which school you join or your kids join? What sort of education is there? What is standard of education? Are teachers really educated there, or they are just teachers for namesake? That parents have a duty to do, but how many parents do that? You are only interested that your child should get very good marks, not more than that anything you have. You have no concern how your child is getting educated. Does your child really understand something? You never test. I think hardly 2-3% people are serious. Parents are serious. Otherwise, oh, my child is getting very good marks, and this getting very good just make them happy. While it is cramming result, it may be cheating result. Who knows? Child can go to any extent because child means child. Child doesn't understand positive and negative aspects. So that is what quality of society applies with. You may be very well educated, no doubt, but do you understand your field? That's another point. You may be very gold medalist student or graduate, but you really understood what you got in? That's my point. Today we see doctors, medicos. We call them, oh, he is MBBS and he MS. But when you go to them, you don't find satisfaction when they prescribe treatment. Why? You don't feel happy. Oh, yeah, he could not get me, he could not diagnose me properly, you would say. It applies to all professions. If you meet some advocate, you are not satisfied. Meet some teacher also you're not. I don't know. You are satisfied with someone. If you are satisfied with that professional, I can say that is good. That is better. But it does not happen. If you go to buy something, some item, some good in market, whatever item, mechanical, electrical, general, you pay money, but you're not happy. You buy carrots or tomato, potatoes. You want to search for quality product that is applicable with everyone. We are searching right return for your money, and you think that is quality. That's fine. You should get that exchange of right quality, but it doesn't apply. It applies everywhere. Everywhere. This quality system we have not developed yet. As nation, we have no developed status to an extent quality criteria is concerned. This has been misunderstood. Quality means whatever you do should be done rightly and with addition of more you can do. If something is defined, say this is definition of quality, this is condition that you have to product, you have to deliver this status of product, or you have to deliver this status of education. But are you doing that? Who will confirm that? Only product can confirm, no certificate. If I am a product, say engineer, I am a product from a university or from an institution. How much I have learned, that's the point. You know, pass marks are not 100%, nowhere in world. Pass marks sometimes 40%, sometimes 50%, somewhere it depends. This is clear that pass marks do not indicate mastery. Because if you pass at 35% aggregate, certainly 65% you are missing somewhere. So you are not quality result of that education system. No one gets 100%, but you have studied something, so you have to apply that education. That is part there. It tells you what quality you have got. I have seen some people who could not get very good marks, but they could understand subject. Sometimes one happens, a student is very good in understanding, but that student cannot write that expressly and lacks marks. And there is someone who does not understand much but can express excellently. It makes a difference. Nobody expects you are 100%. If somebody is 100%, welcome. It's most welcome. But that is theoretical. It's still practical part is missed. For example, we have many certifications, many degrees in every field. Bachelor of Arts, Bachelor of Commerce, Bachelor of Management, Bachelor of Engineering, Medicine, Law, etc. All. But have you ever evaluated what is purpose of that? After all, why do we need so many? Why don't we give something to their hands to earn something or to produce some technical item after passing certain degree in arts or in science? If that degree does not work, what is meaning of that degree? Is it only for sake of calling yourself graduate or bachelor or master or doctor, or that knowledge should be applied? That is what quality is concerned. A person who is very well educated, but that education is just for remembering, for memory and for tag, then I think that education cannot be found, cannot be called traditional education, or when it is professional education. That is where criteria of quality comes into play. Quality is related to every activity in life. Every activity, what sort of food you take, what sort of habits do you have, what sorts of book you read, what type of job you do, and in that job, how do you perform, what is your concentration level, what is your awareness level, or you are just time passing, or you are doing for something. This consideration applies everywhere. Well, I will not go to further explanation because you may say I am talking irrelevant. I am just trying to establish my thought to you that quality applies everywhere in addition to quantity, because quality and quantity both have to move together. If I say when quality is missing, I would simply say quality lags behind quantity. And someone says quality is advanced and quantity is missing, I would say quantity lags behind quality. Simple. But if both move together, that is very nice. If quality and quantity move together, that is called professionalism. Professionalism. You might have seen many products delivered by many countries, USA, England, Japan. China, Bharat. You might have seen many products everywhere, but you must have also seen quality, experienced that quality system. Are those quality products? And you might not have been satisfied because human is human. Human hands are human hands, human thoughts are human thoughts, and these are almost same all over world, uniform level with certain variations you can say because of work culture, because social background, but ultimately target is same. I am from construction engineering, from design engineering, building structures, civil that background. I am very ordinary in that way. I have not done much in my life except staying in deserts, staying in on projects far from cities for years. So I have different kind of nature. I consider life in that way. I have not enjoyed my life. I have not used luxuries in my life, but on job. And job teaches you because my job is different, my line is different, my profession is different. I have to produce something from raw material, from soil you say, or from natural product, natural materials like stone, like dust, like sand, like water. I have to produce from those naturally available materials or sources to convert them into modern materials like concrete, like brick, and like houses. That is my profession to make my living because I got that type of education in my career. So I have to think that way. But that is my special way. In addition to that, I have to think about those are interacting disciplines or interconnecting disciplines or interfacing disciplines which come in contact to my discipline, my field. And all that is, if my quality is required, my field quality is required, in that case, quality from those interfaceting, interrelating, interdisciplinary branches must be on same page, must be compatible. That is very important. This point, as much as we understand, as far as earliest we understand, it can apply to everybody. I have no pride that I've done lot, I've done nothing, I've done very little, because in this life you cannot do all. You can do only bits. Life is not that long. But whatever you do, you should do with your satisfaction first, that you are happy with what you have done. And you will be happy only when you really knew how to do it and you did that way. And if you are not satisfied, you have just delivered something. Believe me, your conscience will not be happy with you. Your own soul will not be happy with you. Maybe you don't believe in soul, does not make a difference. Just think some air around you, you consider that your soul because you are spiring air. There's no other way to understand. Why I'm talking all this? I am talking all this because I have noticed in our country that quality is not given due value except on papers, except on certifications or as tags. People in reality do not believe in quality. They believe, I mean to say, legally they believe, they write, they do everything. But if you examine their products, their work, it doesn't say, it doesn't tell that quality criteria exists there in general. I'm not saying everywhere, in general. That is very difficult statement, but this is fact. Not only in engineering, everywhere, everywhere, even in services. Whatever services you get in market, that is not quality service. Everybody is interested to sell its product and service and just it. That's all. There is no other way. People are just talking and talking, responding on phones. No, very few people are ready to give in writing about guarantee or about assurance. They avoid writings. That is a new development in our country, that people want to run away from responsibility. And this is for everybody. You talk to communication services, you talk to some other services. They talk a lot, they declare a lot, but do very little. Very little. Okay, you call me and will answer. They answer like that and they never respond. I have my personal experiences, annoying experiences with such services. But what to do? Whole culture has changed, society has changed, concepts have changed. How can you help yourself? I don't know. But to my work, to my discipline, to my field, I can fight with, and you have to fight with. If you fight with those who are do not comply with, you can change everything. But you are not fighting, you just associate with them. Their problem lies. Don't forget, nothing is sold free. No services is sold free, and no article or no good is sold free. Everybody charges. Everybody charges. When everybody charges, then why should I not worry about my charge as a customer? Or as if I am deliverer, I am delivering something. That person who receives my delivery, he has every right to question me. I don't run away from that. If I deliver something, I take responsibility of that. Responsibility and liability as well. Accountability and liability I should take. That is my quality. If I don't take accountability, I lapse quality. If I don't respond, I lapse because I have charged that person. So I expect response from those to whom I pay. That point must be clear. If you can understand this point, you will not mind about what I am talking. I am talking about quality of construction, and it involves everything. It involves designs, which is done by engineers. It involves drawings, which is produced by engineers. It involves materials. It involves human resources. It involves equipment and machines, and it involves services from government bodies, services from statutory bodies, and services from others. Means if you want something, some material, you have to deal with all those I just narrated. That is very important. When talk of quality system, that means system quality. It doesn't mean only material quality. It means system quality, which involves many other sub-disciplines. Disciplines, sub-disciplines, or branches, sub-branches, you may say. Example, designing, and before that something else. Designing, there should be quality system in designs. It's not simply I have designed, no. There should be a procedure. There should be a definition, how shall you design it. That is complete technical. Then come on to other, then bidding. Or without bidding, if you do your own quality system, your quality system, your contractor's quality system, that party which is paying for this honor is quality system. All this way until this product reaches end user, everywhere quality system applies with. And we have quality systems at international level. For example, it is Sigma. You may have heard. It's very difficult, but it is very good for manufacturing. It's not good for civil construction or building construction because it's very high profile system. If it says that you only 3.5 bad activities, 3.5 items that are not quality defined out of 1 million items, How can you imagine that's right? If you produce 1 million items, only 3.5 items incorrect can be accepted. It doesn't apply to every field. Now, I am talking of quality system, which is a complete system for all activities involved from all sorts, and that is called International Standard Organization System, ISO 9001, 2015, previously it was 2008, and before that something else and something else. That system That system is not extraordinary. I cannot say that is an only system. That system gives you a datum line, you can say a silver lining, which you can use for your, you can say, comparison. I cannot say, and they also do not say that this is perfect, but you can say that this is a guideline. This is guidebook, and guide is always required. If you know something how to do, you can move yourself. This system defines something. This system defines how we should move. There was different one up to 2008. Now they have re-strengthened it. They have re-strengthened it. And this ISO 9001 2015 means you have to be more serious on your job. Or very serious, in fact. It's you who are responsible. You may be owner, you may be manager, you may be engineer, you may be worker, or you may be public. Everybody has its role to dispose. Everybody has its responsibility and definition of job description that must be delivered. What happens in our country that I have understood? In our country, there's a little problem, only little problem. If you consider that problem and solve it, best it is. You know that, first of all, we are lazy. Lazy. We are not punctual. We are not regular. And we are not dedicated and devoted. Means we take everything lightly, sluggishly. Means we are not serious. We remain sleeping. We do not keep our sequences in our mind, in our minds. We take everything for granted. This is very average state of persons in our country. I am not appreciating, others are all okay in other countries. I am not concerned with that. This is their problem. Our problem is we are not that level of serious as we used to be in past. If you just record back, you track back, you ask your seniors, those old guys, about 50 years back, 40 years back, you will find there was degree of seriousness. In 70s, 80s, 60s, you may say 90s, up to 90s, there was some degree of seriousness. People were serious. They had certain ambitions in life. Education was weighed more than money. Status of official or officers was weighed more than something else. Respect and dignity was more important than just converting everything to money. Money was also important, but not an exclusive criteria that is now. That is now considered. There is a little difference. You will be, of course, not very happy with that. Why always I talk of quality, I talk of status, I talk of ambition. But remember, you have to meet this requirement one day in your life. And there you repent then. You will regret that you are void of that. You are void of that. And this is the reason that our country has no standards in every field. You can consider every field. You can consider engineering. You consider medical. you consider accountancy, you can consider whatever other field, and you can consider this corrupt field of politics. Politics is most corrupt field and quality-less field because it's not because of politics, it is because of ourselves. I should simply blame myself and my citizenry, my fellow citizen of this country who do not understand what is quality. Quality is not my criteria, it is your criteria also. It is criteria of public, it is criteria of everyone. If there is a loss to country, it's a loss to yourself. If there is a collapse of a building, it's a loss to nation. Of course, it is direct loss to that person who owns it, and is loss to public because people die in that, and state compensates. But ultimately, it is national loss. Why this should loss? Because there is no constraint available, constraints to control that activity, building making activity. It's not for building alone, it's for everyone. It's for everything. If a crane boom breaks and falls on somebody dies, that's also same thing. Accident is accident. You are driving car, you are on road, and without following traffic rules, you you collide with someone else, and results is fatal accident. That's also a part of quality. You have licenses of driving, everybody has. Okay, you think having license it is adequate to drive? You yourself ask a question. You have license, you think that is enough for driving? You may say yes. Okay, from statutory point of view, from legal point of view, that is right. That's a document that declares that you know driving. But do you know driving? My question is that just driving mechanism is not driving. If you know driving mechanism only, you should know all controls. If you lack in controls, certainly you shall make accidents once you are not in proper control. You speed up to enjoy driving, but if you fail to control at 11th hours or at immediate requirement, you make an accident. You kill others and kill yourself. Does it not cost you? Not financially, it can cost your life. It can cost life of others. This means just having driving license is not adequate to understand driving quality. You have to recognize traffic first. You have to recognize your driving mechanism and others' driving mechanism. That is all part of quality. All part of quality. Quality exists everywhere and is absent from everywhere. If you dispose your responsibility as citizen to think for your country, you are a quality citizen. But we don't have, unfortunately, quality political leaders. We don't have those. We are missing. Those are not leaders who are there. They are not ideals. They are not role models. Political leadership means those who can act as role models for all others. People should look at them, at their character, and adopt. That leadership is quality leadership. That is called quality leadership. Why we remember Gandhi and Subhash and all others now? Because they had certain degree of qualities. Why we remember leadership from other countries? Because they had certain kind of impacting quality on them. Though in those days there was no quality system. So quality system is not necessary if you are really interested in quality. Quality system is just a support for you. I talked of quality for buildings, structure, and I explained to you what is all that in many talks, and I'm continuing that. I explained to you about ISO 9001 2015 Annex SL. I explained to you. Then I explained to you about contractorship RCC building, that Annex SL. And then I moved on to Annex SL facilities related quality system. And then I was on track of supervision of buildings. But before jumping on to that detailed talk, which I continued last time, I have to continue again. I just to brief you back, after all, what is this quality system, NXSL. This is a format, you can say, a form with many clauses. There are 10 clauses in that, which are new one, but previously this was a guideline in 2008. Now it's not a guideline, it's structured one. ISO 9001 is structured a format into 10 clauses, which says that what is your scope, a kind of that. I'll just open that file and explain to you. I don't want to speak something which I forget, because I'm also used to forgetting some. My habit is that, what to do. Well, no problem at all, everybody forgets. So what it says means scope. Then clause 2 says normative references, and clause 3 says terms and definitions. Clause 4 says context of organization, and clause 5 leadership, and clause 6 is planning, clause 7 is support, clause 8 is operation, clause 9 is performance evaluation, and clause 10 is improvement. These are these are clauses on that format, which is called Annex SL. And this is clause numbers I told you, their titles I told you, and their descriptions are there. And descriptions also I remind to you, this is, for example, in clause 1, this is scope. It requires intended outcome of management system. What is your target actually, what you want to achieve, and which are industry specific and should be aligned in clause 4, which is context of organization that we are going to talk of. Then clause 2, that's normative references, which says it requires details of reference standards or publications relevant to particular standard. Then clause 3, this is terms and definitions, which requires detailed terms and definitions applicable to particular specific standard in addition to format related terms and conditions. Terms and definitions. Then clause 4 is context of organization, which requires that understanding organization and its context, understanding needs and expectations of parties, determining scope of management system and management system. Then leadership, that is clause 5, which requires leadership and commitment definition, policy requirement and policy definition, organizational roles, responsibilities and authorities. These are all minimum. Then you can say clause 6, which is planning, means actions to address risks and opportunities, management system objectives and planning to achieve these objectives. Then clause 7 is support, means resources, competence, awareness, communication, documented information, because these are all supports. Resources is support, competence is support, awareness is support, communication is support, documented information is support. And if you move to clause 8, which is operation, which includes operational planning and control, not theoretical planning, operational planning and control. Points for considerations are, we'll take later on. Then clause 9 is performance evaluation, which requires monitoring, measurement, analysis and evaluation, internal audit and management review. Then it is clause 10, which is improvement, means non-conformity and corrective actions and continual improvement. These are format declaration in format type of Annex SL, And what actually it bases with, it says an organization adopts a management system to take care of comfortably achieving its set objectives. Management system comprises various sets of procedures to chart out and implement various operations or activities so as to successfully reach its intended objectives, which leads to enhanced use of resources, improvement on risk management, and increased customer satisfaction by meeting product or services expectations. Organizations do work on various management systems, say quality management, environment management, and safety management. And ISO 9001-2000 had certain deficiencies to have interface among all those systems, which deficiencies have been taken care of in ISO 9000, 2000, ISO 9001-15, that this structure, which is a common one, applies to all those systems to manage all those systems. This means all management systems shall have single high-level identical core tags, which common terms and conditions there. High-level structure cannot be changed, but discipline-specific subclasses can be varied. NXSL applies to all management systems, as we said, in systems publicly available. So what it says that this text is more this format of these clauses, that is the scope, normative references, terms and conditions, context of organizations, leadership, planning, support, and operation, performance evaluation, and improvement. These are all formats that are required to be filled in for purpose of your organization, and then these are used in quality management system. This system 2015 ISO 9001, this is quality management system which requirements has achieved this objective. Purpose of this writing is just to explain to you what I understand and what you have to understand, and it allows an organization flexibility in way it chooses to document its quality management system, QMS or 2QM, total quality management. This enables each individual organization to determine correct amount of documented information required in order to demonstrate effective planning, operation, and control of its processes with implementation and continual improvement of effectiveness of QMS. And it is stressed that this requires documented quality management system and not a system of documents. So system of documents significance has gone, but documented quality management system has been replaced on that. So what is documented information? This is also a question in that case, which I should repeat every time. This means definitions and references are now term documented information. It was introduced as part of common high level structure HLS and common terms and for management system standards MSS. Definition of documented information can be found in relevant documents. Documented information can be used to communicate a message, provide evidence of what was planned has actually been done, or knowledge sharing. Following are some main objects. I'll come on to that. Documented information, what actually it means: communication of information, evidence of information. Let us say one by one. Communication of information, most important, because document means to communicate something. Evidence of conformity, it should conform to requirement. Knowledge sharing and dissemination further. So let's talk about this. Communication of information as a tool for information, transmission and communication, type and extent of documented information. It depends on nature of organization, products and processes, degree of formality of communication system, and level of communication skills within organization and organization culture. Evidence of conformity, provision of evidence that what was planned has actually been done, that to ensure that means if it is done, it's fine. Knowledge sharing means how much we are sharing with each other, what we are getting from each other. Then dissemination and preserve organization's experience. Experience is more important. You have to disseminate with all A typical example would be a technical. This example is you have a technical specification, you have a standard drawings, you have standard result method statements, for example, which all can be used as base for procedures, base for designs and development of products or services in future. Now let's say what about these terms and definitions on these documents, and this says that what medium we can use for this is paper document. Paper can be document, magnetic disc can be document, electronic equipment can be document, photographs or mastership or videos or some other information. Whatever you have, you use, that is document. So it says quality management system and its processes requires an organization to maintain documented information to an extent necessary to support operation of process, and retain documented information to an extent necessary to have confidence that processes are being carried out as planned. Generally explains quality management system document include what? Sorry. There are two descriptions. One is mandatory descriptions and one is optional description. It says the documented information required by international standards, you have to comply with that. And other one is documented information determined by your organization as being necessary for your effectiveness of quality management system. That is your way to decide. You have to ensure what is required. Are you making that? Are you doing on that? And one is mandatory requirement by international bodies. Now, after this clause, make it clear that extent of QMS, quality management system, has to be controlled in accordance with whatever it is documented information, and documented information be maintained by organization for purpose of establishing high-level transfer documents. These include scope of quality management system. The scope of quality management system, document information necessary to support operations of processes, quality policy, quality objectives. So the document information is subject to requirement. While these are all requirements of high definitions, scope and information, quality policy, quality objects, all you have to define. And actually what sort of documents we actually need in our field. Let us say documented information maintained by organizations for purpose of communicating information necessary for organization. Let me repeat, documented information maintained by organization for purpose of communicating information necessary for organization to operate low-level specific documents does not specifically require any of them. Example is, means this standard does not require any of them, which we are going to tell, but your company may need them. It depends upon you, but if you do that, if you organize that optional requirement, you have to prove also that you complied with that. That's mandatory. Evidence is mandatory, requirement is not mandatory. But in other way, where the institution says that you have to do, that was mandatory. Here it is optional, but that's evidence. It's evidence of doing is important. Let us say, what is that? It says organization chart. Yes, you need it. Top management to line management, complete organization chart, but this is not mandatory. Process maps, process flow charts or process descriptions, procedures which are technical and administrative both, work and or test instructions, specifications, that is project, general and particular, documents containing internal communications, memos, mails, methods, etc., production schedules, that is schedules of bar charts, approved supplier list, which list you actually shortlist, then test and inspection plans, quality plans, quality manuals, strategic plans, forms. We have talked of these in last videos. Now this must be complied with. That is more important. So which documents you have written, you have to decide. Means documented information to an extent necessary to have confidence that processes are being carried out per planning. That is what you have to establish. Evidence of fitness for purpose of monitoring and measurement resources. That evidence should be there that these documents were required and were suitable and fitted. They were fitting in requirement. Then evidence of basis used for calibration of monitoring and measurement. Basis used for calibration of monitoring and measurement resources where there is no international or national standard. Then evidence of competence of persons who worked on them. Under control organization, were they effective in working? Were they having adequate education and experience for that? And then review a new requirement of products and services. And then records needed to demonstrate that design and development requirements have been met. Records on designs and development inputs. Records of activities of design and development controls. Records of design and development outputs. Design and development changes, including results of review and authorization of changes and necessary actions. Records of evaluation, selection, monitoring of performance, and re-evaluation of external providers and any other actions arising from these activities. Evidence of unique identification of outputs when traceability is a question, is a requirement. Records of property of customers or external provider that's lost, damaged, or otherwise found to be unsuitable for use and of its communication to owner. Results of review of changes for production or service provision, persons authorizing change and necessary actions taken. Records of authorized release of products and services for delivery to customer, including acceptance criteria and traceability to authorized persons. Records of non-conformities, actions taken, concessions of thing and identification of authority, deciding actions in respect of non-conformity, results of evaluation of performance and effectiveness of QMS, evidence of implementation of audit program and audit results, evidence of results of management reviews, evidence of nature of conformities and any subsequent actions taken, results of any corrective action. And I'll repeat all this because these are a little complicated. It says that documented information needed or required to be retained by organization for purpose of providing evidence of result achieved means you have to confirm whatever you planned or you procedured or you wrote in that must be done. That must be complied. It says that. Example now, number one, document information to an extent necessary to have confidence that processes are being carried out as planned. Why documented information is required actually? That's in this line it says, because we have to define what we are going to do simple. We cannot keep in our mind, there are so many people in my organization, hundreds and thousands. There are 100 people, for example, 50 people, for example, for staff, personnel. They are dealing with this. They have to deal with this. But I cannot tell everybody every time do it, do it, do it, do it. Everybody should know what he has to do. That is what document is required. It's a means of communication. It's a means of record. It's a means to search out every time and understand what's required. That is what document is all about. So we should have written documents, you can say written point-wise and explanatory documents we should have according to requirement of our planning. This means it says documented information to an extent necessary to have confidence. It is written, you comply with that means you are having trust that you have reliable source to get that information. Confidence in that procedure you have. Whatever you are doing, that is based on calculation with criteria considered and planning. Now, next is evidence of fitness for purpose for monitoring and measuring resources. Now, that document shall guide you in every respect because whatever work you are doing, it should be monitored, it should be measured, it should be valued, and that procedure shall advise you, shall consult you, tell you do this. You have to consult that document. That is what it means, evidence of fitness. So if it works, it is an evidence that whatever you prescribed or whatever statement you adopted, that is worth application, that is worth use, and that is where evidence of fitness means. Then evidence of basis used for calibration of monitoring and measurement. Resources, when no international or national standards exist. Yes. Okay, no international or national standard exists, but you have adopted your own system. Evidence of basis used for calibration of monitoring and measurement resources. How to monitor, how to measure achievements of that activity. You have certain basis, and based on definition of that criteria, you measure, you monitor, and that basis itself is to work for calibration of monitoring power and measurement methods. This monitoring and measurement methods actually are based on that terminology they are calling calibration. Okay, you consider this system of monitoring and measurements as a mechanism for yourself only, not for everyone else. Then you come on to next one. That's evidence of competence of persons doing work under control of organization that affects performance and effectiveness of quality management system. Quality management system is being conducted by those people who are qualified, educated professionals and working in the organization. They are working for organization based on due competency, due consistency, and their character and their knowledge. The whole, if you combine, is called competence of person. So they are well competent if this work is done rightly and they have basics of that, basics of education and training. Then you can say evidence is that they are competent one, all those who are involved in that activity, or else activity done by someone who is not well educated and competent cannot be relied upon. There stands always certain suspicion degree that this person is not well organized and competent one. This person is not competent as to an extent this activity is related to. Then as a result of review and new requirements for products and services, results of review. You have to review from time to time, and we have even after review, there will be new requirements for new products and services. Well, that's general. Then go to records needed to demonstrate design and development requirements have been met. Records needed. Which records? These records we were monitored, and you can say these were monitored and quality checked. In fact, measurement of performance. Your measurement of performance of definitions of criteria of achievement or target or destinations which must be proven by records on records. And it says records needs to demonstrate that design and development requirements have been met. Certainly, if you do it all time according to the requirement of specifications or process, you will document that, record that, measure it, and you can say monitor it. Then certainly there is a tally. This is a interface between requirement and what's delivered. Successful interface. Then go to records on design and development inputs. Of course, records are records. Where you put all these, what you have achieved in field, you can use them further based on, so this is my empirical result or experience-based results that can be used as a part, as a support to define further actions. Then records of activities of design and development controls. Records of activities of design and development controls. Design continues, development continues, and these are all activities. There are some controls required on this, and these are all records. You have to write that. That's records of design and development output. So one side is input, other side is output. Based on your experience, you are getting feedback, and that is input. And based on your activities, you are delivering something, and it's output. So both records are available. Then design, the records of designs. Designs and development changes. Design and development changes. Design and development changes, including results of review and authorization of changes and necessary actions. Design and development changes, including results of review and authorization of change and necessary actions. Design and development change is very important point. Why we need that actually? That's a big point. Why you want to change means if there's a design change, why is there? Why design change? This means there was some flaw in that. Design and development changes, including results of review and authorization of changes. Based on your output, you had certain monitoring and review and measurement, and you got certain feedback from that. So that applies to your original work also. Okay, this kind of trial, you tried something, you couldn't achieve your requirement, you further try that, keep on trying that, sorry, and it will impact on your design details or definition which you got in your design, and further develop that, these changes. Then, of course, results shall be affected with, you have to review that as well. So, this is a perpetual process. Means one time you do it, you get something logically or empirically, and then you do it further, review it, second time, first time, third time, fourth time, until you reach satisfactory, balanced answer, balanced data. Then records of evaluation, selection, monitoring of performance, and revaluation of external providers. Records of evaluation means records means documents everywhere. Remember, when we talking records, is all documents. Records of evaluation. You evaluated something, it must be on record. You cannot simply say I evaluated. I don't know details. Where details gone. You have to write. You have to document that. Selection out of that. Monitor performance. So records of evaluation you have, record of selection you have, record of monitoring of performance you have, and re-evaluation of external providers and others actions arising from this accuracy. So means it is all same. You must document every action, every act on your activity, everything done, every deed you did on activity. You have that one and documentation. Then evidence of unique identification of output when traceability is a requirement. Yes, you have records, many records, tens of records, hundreds of records. And because there are many activities, each activity is powerful and is documented on all these evaluation, then performance, then you have to monitor, you have to measure. All these for every activity should be on record. But recording is fine. Today you record, after a few days or months you need its, where does it lie? And there will be many files in your office and many records will be there. How to trace this? That is important. When you need it, it should come immediately. And for that purpose, you have to codify it. You have to provide unique identification of that output you are recording, because if you know that number you allotted to this, you will immediately get that out from your archive or from your record. You can retry it immediately if you know its identity. That is evidence of unique identification. Is you should have a catalog number or you should have code number of that activity which you must manage. It's very easy to talk, but it takes time, and document controller is not available, then you yourself shall have to maintain all such data. Then go further, says that records of property of customer or external provider customer or external provider that is lost, damaged, or otherwise found to be unsuitable for use and of its communication to honor. Whatever records of those property, customer's property or external provider or service, external service provider, if records are lost, damaged or otherwise found to be unsuitable for use and of its communication to honor, this can happen. Records of property of customer or external provider that is lost, damaged or otherwise found to be unsuitable for use and the communications to honor. Results of review of changes for production of services. Well, these are all records. What I'm saying is that is also one of records of customer properties and external provider. And the result of review of changes, you have some changes, you're going to have results based on those changes, and you have to review that also. Means it's a sequence of repetition, iteration for production or service provision, persons authorizing change and necessary actions taken. All this should be on record. This is what it's giving. Then results include records of authorized release of products and services. Release, someone released it. Product was released and services was released, and that is authorized one, that's official one. That record should be there, and that is required for delivery to customer, because ultimately your product is being delivered to customer. It may be product or service, and including acceptance also, acceptance criteria, and its traceability, means how can you get it back, its traceability to authorizing person as well. This should be on record. Means these are all responsibilities of document control or document engineer, you may say, or document controller, you may say. Records of non-conformities, which is a very important point, means records of non-conformities, actions taken, concessions obtained, and identification of authority deciding action in respect of non-conformities clause. Non-conformity is actually only problem that we get here, and that is biggest one. Biggest one, non-conformity. It's biggest problem, and it should be recorded. And whatever actions we are going to take on that non-conformance, and whatever concession if we get from client, okay, you have done this, don't worry about this, it's little less, 5% if I accept this, I'll pay you less, that will be called a concession. Obtained and identification of authority deciding action in respect of non-conformity, these all must be on record. NCR or non-conformity is very complex, as well as it's misleading. Sometimes you cannot understand its sequence or its outcome. Then result of evaluation of performance and effectiveness of MS, that is very important. It's the performance of system, result of evaluation of performance and effectiveness of the system, QMS, quality management system. What are results of its performance, how it is performing, how it is effective. That requires time to time its review and study, and its evidence of implementation of audit program, because a person who examines, who audits its performance according to this result of evaluation of performance and its effectiveness by QMS, only audit program can do that, audit can do that, and this is evidence of implementation of audit program and audit results. Then evidence of result of management reviews. Management has to further move on to that audit and that report. And management evidence is, the evidence should be that management does it. Management doesn't close file in Almira and don't look at that afterward. It's management responsibility to review it further and decide what action should be taken or not to be taken. Then evidence of nature of conformity, non-conformities and subsequent actions taken, that should be also on record, and result of whatever corrective actions taken. So it says organizations are free to develop other records. There is no restriction, no bar, no hindrance. You can record whatever you want to record, but it should be logical, it should be professional, it should not be superfluous. And that may be needed, that may be required to demonstrate conformity of their processes, products, services, and quality management system. And where they exist, all such records are also subject to requirement. All right, this is what this document says. It's called basic requirements and basic. Now I was moving on to supervising management because this was general knowledge explained to you. I was busy with you last time on supervisory management system, which just says NXSL of ISO 9001-2015 supervising management system, which I will like to continue on that because it's very important one. Supervising management, one is means one party is constructing and there is a supervision party, and supervision party is more liable to party which works on site, because supervision means though legally you may not be responsible or responsible, but question is not here legal responsibility. Question is that how much you are conscious, because it's also your responsibility. You are there to monitor work of others. That's why I say that it's not alone a position or a discipline that you say, okay, fine, I am just watching or surveilling. Watching or surveilling is not alone exclusively required. It says supervision management of RCC buildings. I'm talking of, it can be anything. Construction is a template in which I said quality system I defined, that was supervision management RCC buildings construction, and I just wrote in that. If I just repeat for your reference very rapidly, an organization adopts a management system to take care of comfortably achieving its set objectives, which being in this case supervising management of RCC buildings construction. The management system comprises various sets of procedures for charting out and implementing various operations or activities so as to successfully reach its intended objectives, which lead to enhanced use of resources, improvement on risk management, and increased customer satisfaction by meeting product or services expectations. In this case, product is supervision management on RCC building construction. Means you are a supervisor there, or supervising engineer, or monitoring engineer, or whatever they are performing, you have to observe that and approve that. Organizations do work to various management systems, and those quality management, environment management, safety management, etc., etc. And it applies to every case. Means directly it applies to all these various systems in line to previous ISO 9001-2008. These were to used to work in a varying interfaces and confusing one. So this structure of NXSL has solved that mismanagement, and NXSL being high level management system has produced a common platform, you can say, to so as all systems that organization adopts can be drawn based on NXSL. Means we can design there, we can devise that format for our own use. Designs or format. Supervising management RCC buildings construction can be easily defined within its format, as I define facilities and I define RCC building construction. Such arrangement provides many commonalities in designing. Such arrangement provides many commonalities in designing system implementation, which are monitor it, evaluate, value it, and improve it. Means you have to monitor, as I say, monitoring, evaluation, and improvement. By trying to eliminate conflicts, means avoid conflicts among this system integrity, various aspects that existed in ISO 9001 2008. So this eliminating those conflicts among itself. Now, various stages related supervising management access buildings, construction can be covered within template successfully, and I covered that. All management systems shall have single high-level identical core text with common term and definitions, which can be defined within Annex SL. So this just explanation. The high-level structure cannot be changed. Yes, it's everywhere. It's not only in this, but also in all other formats and whatever format you can design. But discipline specific sub-clauses can be both sub-edited or changed. As such, additions may be made wherever required. Related to supervision, management, RCC buildings, construction. Then Annex SL applies to all management system, standards publicly available and specifications available and technical specifications as well as customized requirements. And revised system shall be based on Annex SL. All it will be ISO 9001, ISO 14001, ISO 45001, all which relate to environment as well as some safety. Then Annex SL template shown is only for indicative guidance, just for your support to draw your system in your organization, to apprise an engineer how new system adopted by ISO effective September 2015 now work to produce organizational prime quality document, which shall govern whole organization quality processes required by business adding accountability shareable by business and technocrat leaders. Wherever whatever requirements demand, items can be added as sub clauses, but no deletions can be done. The purpose of this template is just a project quality track demanded by ISO 9001-2015 system, which is a mandate published by ISO and without which applications all existing ISO 9001-2008 registered certifications shall stand invalid after 3 years of September 2015. So it is already, it's now, it's 2020. So that 3 years period has gone. And so Annex SL we will continue now. This is in, as I said before, 10 clauses are these. There's scope, and after that is normative references, terms and conditions, text of organization, and you can say what we consider as context of organization. After it is quality, and then you can say, sorry, not quality, leadership in bottom high leadership, and then number 6 is planning, and number 7 is support, and number 8 is operation, and number 9 is evaluation of that, or performance evaluation you can say, and number 10 is improvement. This is what it's all about. And I said all indications, I told you what includes in that. I repeat just for information so that we continue on that talk immediately. Refreshal repetition for your information that what it is. And it said that if you talk to clause 1, that is scope, it means that what you include there in its description and its intended actions related to PDCA. PDCA, that is the description, which says plan. P stands for plan, D stands for do, C stands for check, A stands for act. Plan something, do it, check what you have done, and act what is required. PDCA. This column is for PDCA. Now in scope, what it says. In scope, it says it includes output of management system, which are industry specific and should be aligned with clause 4 of context of organization. So we explained in that scope about this supervision, that supervising management of RCC buildings construction from commencement to completion stages of our scope, construction prosecuted by honor, appoint contracting organizations including subcontractors also in this scope, because what we supervise work done by contractors. Then delivery of design and specifications wise compliant completed building under certification of completion per contract document and regulations. Because that system is to be delivered. Design we have to receive, we have to use, specifications we have to use, and all this compliant for building. Means all this is included in this scope, because it cannot be taken in isolation. When you are supervising something, you are supervising based on some information, based on the designs of documents, and that's all involved in this. And we go to normative references, which say details of reference standards or publication relevant to particular standard. So it's a service contract there is between supervising manager and consultant and owner, and there is contract between owner and contractor. Then there is ISO 9015 contractors organization document. There is a project schedule, all designs, all disciplines, all working and shop drawings, and all other contract documentation, and then all specifications within contract, all testing references, all are built as built and references, all material and others. And supporting references are Euro codes, for example, American codes, or you can say Indian standards codes, or BS, or whatever is there, and there is national annexes and national NDFs we call them, and PDs we call them, published documents, and these are all there. For example, there is an EN 1990-2002, which is basis of designs, means you should define what is basis of designs. And there's IN 19001-11-2002, there's actions you are going to take on that. What sort of actions? Actions with kind of loading. Then EN 1991-1 to 2002, it's actions by fire. Similarly, EN 1991-14-2005, sorry, 2003, EN 1991-13-2003 is action by, I'm sorry, I repeat wrong, EN 1991-1 to 2002, action by fire. Then EN 1991-13-2003, action by snow. And EN 1991-14-2005, action by wind. And similarly further, action by therm, action by execution, action by accidents, design concrete, structured fire. And it is BSNEN 1990-2005, or ACI 318, or IS code 456-2000, or NBC 2005, building by laws related to area of site. These are not one bylaws, these are many laws. So all these are interconnected with you, and that is where you have to professionally operate. Then clause 3, if you go to clause 3, which is terms and definitions, and these are also very important from point of view the details. Detailed terms are required, definitions are required, detailed terms and definitions applicable to particular specific standard in addition to the formal format of related terms and conditions. Now, what are control references in that actually? You will say terms and definitions. It says, for example, in controls, you need daily progress report or daily job status. You may say memos to contractor, what you are writing to contractor. Daily progress is very important. I explained before also. You can remember or you may forget, but it's a kind of a series of writing about your company, daily activity, upon your contractor's daily activity, what you want to say. That first of all, name of project you can say, and you can say what date it is and all that, and what is material available, what activity we are going to start, what activity we are going to close at, what difficulties there on site, or what equipment we don't have, and how many workers we have for this job, whatever is required for that, you have to list out that one in that, and then later on you can write complete status of that one. Now because you are going to just start that, So daily progress report you can say is very important document which is a historical document. It's not legal though, it's the informative one. Means there are so many columns in that I explained before. Activity start, activity ending, what works are expected in the coming week, and what is your today's work, what items are there working on, what are the management department for inspections when you come and inspect that. All such delayed starts of activities are called, you can say structural this and that, but I don't accept that. I don't accept that because you have to define everything. You are on site, you are taking care of site, you have to be responsible for whatever activities go on site. You have to define yourself. For example, who's coming to site to visit, whoever, from whatever party, it should be on record. What is weather temperature that date's been record. Are you going to do important items like concrete? You have to define. You have to, what safety taken on site. Not people are still understanding this. Or vehicles are entering daily, coming and going, coming and going. Are they going in peak time or they go all in time? All such should be there. It should be very comfortable to understand what you want to live with. Then you can say memos to contractor means a consultant shall write to memo, you are doing this, you are not doing right or wrong. So that type of reference should be there. Then technical clarification when you raise for certain means you are not understanding which drawing is right or which is specific right. There's a conflict among drawing, or there's a conflict among specifications and drawing, or there's some other conflict which you are not clear with, and you have to raise a document called site technical query. You have to raise your question, get answer, or you when these people guy you could talk to them, or you can say that I'm writing on your Facebook, but I'm sorry, I'm not going to get any answer. So be ready with that. It's there that you have to give you. It's not simply that no, I cannot do that. It's also mandatory. So we must contact your technical clarifications, engineering clarifications, design clarifications. There's a design interconnection, the design calculations. You have to understand that, and then you have to provide someone like Modi, sorry, someone like you can say, engineering clarification, someone like medium engineer, or person who can give you design basis, who can modify this your drawing, or who can say there's some error on drawing. I have gone through that error and it is submitted that one, and this is for purpose of execution. And engineering clarifications that, and contractual clarification when there's some problem in contract, or you're not understanding contract clauses, or you are not understanding actually what you have to deliver according to that clause. So that also requires certain clarification. So it should have been done pre-bid. It should have done completely pre-bid, but by chance you missed it. So you have to take order. Means am I going to operate this way? Is it worth it for your understanding? If there's a problem in that, it doesn't work. Means no, you have done this. Means if you pass responsibility to some other one, that doesn't work. That's not acceptable. Then we want to request for inspection, general items and concrete items. Say when you call for inspection, you are a contractor person, you're calling your resident here for inspection. You have to give adequate time for whatever examination you're conducting. You're supposed to have to talk for 4 hours, you have to talk for 8 hours. You have to for like 8 hours. Then you can say it's 24 hours information for inspection general and 48 hours information for concrete inspection. These are mandatory because there is a consultant, he's looking after many activities, many projects, and you are sending your letter to him, your form to you, that this is required for inspection. So that person also needs some time. Means there will be whoever is there, that is supervisor, needs time to refer to those drawings to see what actually is required. Is required to refer to specifications, what you are following on that, and based on that information, water information, or you can say pollution information, weather information, all that is involved in that. So that person would check all that, all drawings, related drawings that engineer would check through if he has to inspect only floor or ceiling, or if he has closed the floor ceiling, then there's no way out. You should not keep the board. That's okay. So that information of 48 hours, because all structural drawings, all architectural drawings, what you have done, that guy would check by finding time from your busy schedule, and that is very important to understand. Then you can say Non-compliance, I'll explain the non-compliance and material approval request and drawing approval request. As you said that we talked about that before, that all materials which are going to be used permanently must be approved and non-compliance should be corrected with, it should be taken care of. Then temporary works, I all explained to you about that, I just speak in list. This is non-compliance report, material approval request and drawing approval request and temporary works and preparatory works and permanent works and construction method statements, standard working designs or details, quality management statements including checklists and ITPs and safety management document including safety, induction, training, upkeep, and and surveillance, and then firefighting and suppression, and then supporting was very different means. Supporting was actually very powerful. You can say excavation. I talked to you at length about excavation, then soil testing on site, and soil improvement, blinding, concrete protection, waterproofing below ground and above ground, cast in situ concrete, formwork, reinforcement fabrication, reinforcement placement, precast, pre-stressed concrete if included, concrete glass, reinforcement grade, soil backfill, piping, concrete block wall, roofing, plastering rendering, flooring, doors, windows, ironmongery, kitchen, wet areas, finishes, special items, testing and commissioning, design, estimated quantities, issued for information drawings, issued for building permit drawings, issued for construction drawings, revised design, national annexes, nationally determined parameters, published documents, and all other necessary definitions. So I'll go back and just briefly explain to you about this so that you comfortably understand this. It's not that easy as you take it. You have to take care of everything. So I'll speak of course I explained last time, but you forget possibly I briefly explain all those so that I can move further in continuation of that. And it means excavation. I said first item, very difficult job. You may say how it is difficult, very easy, just take machine and excavate. Yes, you're right. Physically, it's excavation activity is easy, but pre-excavation, that is very important. Pre-excavation, what you have to do, let me stand for a while because my stretch my legs. Better stand for 10 minutes, not 10 minutes. Just sorry for the yeah. So I say excavation. As I said, excavation means you have to start something in a volume which is hidden. Excavation is very responsible activity. You cannot simply say there is earth, you have to excavate 2 meters, somewhere 3 meters, for some basements 4 meters, or you have many stories below ground. What is expected in excavation? Below earth, being an engineer or an experienced person, a common sense says there can be water table you call it. There can be underground services running, live services, or there can be hidden wealth, which, well, we are not considering in this, but there can be. Or you don't know about what sort of soil is there. You don't know about that. It doesn't make a difference. As far as you have soil exploration report. Soil exploration report in our country is not a fashion, it's not a practice, which is very detrimental for foundations. It's really detrimental because we do not care for what we are required. Well, the important point here is Am I going to disturb live services? Suppose I am going to excavate something in a running plant area, or in my vicinity there is some plant where I am going to construct my building, or something else. There may be electric wire going below, electric cable. There can be water line, pressured water line. There can be sewer line. There can be some other services, communication services, any other some other services. I am going to construct my building. I don't have any right to disturb that service, right? Then how to help myself? If I am organized country, not like our country, I should get certain information of those utilities from records. If I have that privilege in that area, then I can get all information. That is excellent. The way services are running, guide I should get so that I can take care of excavation. I will not directly excavate it, but take precautionary measures. For example, if I know where services are running, I go for manual excavation for some meter depth, say, because generally services are within a reach of 1.5 meter, not more than that. Until these are very big services, which generally don't happen for some construction buildings. It may be 1 meter, it may be 1.5 meter, like electrical cable may be 1 meter maximum. There can be water line that can be maximum. It depends upon whatever it is. So in that case, where I expect there is services from that drawing, which I name record drawing, those record drawing I can get from those statutory departments or local authorities, whoever maintain that record, which our nation does not mandate, but actually is a professional practice in a professional management company of those who extend services to public. Example is water supply or sewage department, road department, or you can say some of the electrical department where underground cabling is there, or some other service, whatever it is, whatsoever. If you are not going to get an information like it happens in our country, beautiful management, there is a danger that excavator shall certainly damage that service. It may be acceptable here because here nothing is so concerned, but when you are working in certain industrial area, plants are working, facilities are working, refineries are working, power station is working, nuclear reactor is working, something else is working. You must take care of that. And if you break that service, you will be arrested. You shall be arrested. And penalty will be imposed on you because you are going to impact that plant, that industrial facility. That's why I'm stressing excavation is very, very complicated and risky assignment. If there is service, you have to confirm that service. You have to manually excavate that, or you call it hand excavation, and ensure where it lies. You expose that. If that comes in your plot and it affects your building, you have to find solution. You have to discuss with that authority what I have to do, instruct me. And if it's a part of your contract that you have to shift that, if it's required, you have to shift it. Or if that statutory body has to shift it, they shall shift it. But for this, coordination and liaison are required. Whatever services there, you cannot excavate until a decision is reached. And whatever decision is there, that requires a compliance. And once it is done, then you can excavate. Not before that. That is one part. Services. Then there's another part. There's water beneath. Two types of water. One is turbulent water, the excavator of water flowing in very fast. Or there is another case when it's, laminar water or moist soil. What does it mean? There are certain classes of soils like clay soil or silty clay or clay silt, or there's a soil like sandy soil, sand you can say, or you may say rock or some other kind of soil. All these soils have different types of properties. To an extent, water is related. Water may be life, it gives life to everybody, but water is very dangerous also. Because if it gives you life, it can take your life also when you dive in river, right, or into sea. Same way, if there's clay or if there's sand, both act differently. Clay has pores, voids, mini voids, very minute voids within that, and those voids are not connected. Those voids are free without any root. So water particles enter into those pores and further swell it. Means volume of that soil of clay increases. As much as water get water, it can increase to many times. And it doesn't come out. It doesn't come out immediately. It increases volume, and once it is evaporated or compacted, it comes out. Compaction is also not easy. That is problem with clay soil, and it contains particle of silt also. Clay is minimum particle size, minimum size particle. Clay is very difficult to deal with. And if it is sand, sandy soil or granular soil, a combination of sand and combination of bigger particles, angular particles, or combination of stone chips, you may call it different kind of soil. But water flows through those pores because this is sand. Bigger size of pores are there and connected pores are there. Have you ever noticed? If you are in area of the sand strata is there, and when it rains, sometimes water disappears immediately. And if it's clay, you will find every point there, every place of that area has got sticky. It's difficult to walk on, that will slip. That is called clay property. That is called result of clay or response of clay to water. So response of clay is that it doesn't respond immediately for your purpose, whereas sand, water shall penetrate in below. Clay allows water remain there and rise vertically. Water remains there and it rises because of sun rays pull it by evaporation, and water moves in very thin vertical column, that's called capillary. And that capillary transfers its moist water particles to plants' roots, and that is the result that you got crops, you got plants, you got trees. This means clay is good for plantation, it's good for agriculture, but sand does not allow that because water is drained in. This is reverse of each other. And if you consider rock, chattan, stone is also of various types. Rocks. I'm just trying to let you know what excavation is all about. It's not that I'm explaining property of rocks. I'm just trying to tell you because excavation gives you all such problems. Rocks. What is rock? You have heard volcano, Jwalamukhi. You say, oh, in Australia it erupted, in New Zealand erupted there and here. They say volcano. Yes, it is. Volume of earth solids by impact of fire, by impact of rising temperature and fire, that material comes up, erupts up. That is called magma and lava relation. It comes onto ground in form of fire. Molten material from internal surface, internal structure of crust comes out, magma. That solidifies from liquid state to solid state. It becomes hard and it becomes igneous rocks. Igneous, I-G-N-E-O-U-S. Why it is igneous? Though it is English word, but I consider it is different word. Why? Agni, I-G-N-E-O-U-S. Can you speak Agni? Because there was fire. So this is igneous rocks, hard rocks, powerful rock. Example is granite stone, gabbro stone. This is powerful rock. This is one type of rock which contains very little water. It cannot absorb much because it's very hard, very solid. Few cracks. And if you consider another type rock, that is settlement of transported particles or debris, compaction, natural compaction of those debris, and then consolidation of debris, like the sand. Sand flows from one area to another area due to fast winds, due to whatever reason, due to erosion, or you take from sea or from somewhere. You get these materials in layers. These materials accumulate in layers everywhere, in courses, and one course may take decades and I don't know how many years, and you will find many layers of such sedimented materials or settled materials. Higher particles settle first, then lesser higher settle take follow up, then further finer take follow up. Like this, these go on setting and it's called sedimentation, and such rocks are called sedimentary rocks. Example is sandstone. Example is further transferred into another by action of agency, that is weather, that's climate, that's rain, that's sun, all that solidifies and it's called sedimentary rocks, and further chemical actions create metamorphic rock because of meteorological action. Weather impacts upon that chemicals of sand or that settled particle, and by chemical action, by meteorological action, it converts them to some other form that we call metamorphic rock. Example is marble stone. This means there are these main three primary types of classes: rocks, igneous, sedimentary, and metamorphic. Now, what sort of rock you have when you are excavating, it depends upon history of that area, geography of that area. If you are, this will be explained to you by borehole, which is done by professional laboratory, and that's called soil exploration. If you have that report from laboratory on your project, you can go through that one and see in this area how many boreholes were rigged in and what section of borehole stayed. What sort of rock is at 5-meter depth, what sort of rock is at 10-meter depth, what sort of is 20-meter depth, whatever scope of that drilling you did, that information would be fetched to you by that soil exploration report. So you know what status of soil is there, or rock is there. It is clay rock, it is sandy rock, or it is ordinary clay, ordinary sand, because clay can also be converted to very dense clay, and sand also be considered very dense sand, and rock itself is rock. And it would tell you water level. This information is very significant for purpose of understanding substrata of soil, and this is never uniform. You may be having up to few meters or small layers of some material, then if you go down another material, and then furthermore it goes on changing from one material to another material. This information you can get from that Bohr law. This is one part. Then second part, it must tell you strength of that soil, where they recommend that you site your building at this level, because they must have conducted, like I mean to say, they which equal to laboratory. This material testing laboratory must have conducted soil exploration test to define what is bearing capacity of that soil. And bearing capacity means how much load that soil can take successfully per square meter. That's bearing capacity. It may take 5 tons per square meter. It may take 2 tons per square meter. It may take 100 tons per square meter. It may take 50 tons per square meter. It depends upon what sort of soil, what sort of rock, what soil is there. Even if it is rock, there can be cracks in rock, that's called fissures. There can be planes of weaknesses in that rock. Everything is possible, and water does not need any visa to move into any place in such rocks or in soils. Water has complete freedom, and when water moves, chemicals also moves. Finer particles also moves, because water carries them with it. So water is that type of carrier which can take water particles with it, chemical particles with it, soil particles with it, and many more minerals with it from one point to another point. This understanding must be made clear first. And when you know all this, you have to chart out plan for excavation. That is also very important. Not necessary to repeat every time, but you have to take precautionary measures, because you have to take care, in addition to your site, existing structures around, if whatever is there, because you have no right to damage other structures. You have no right, because you are responsible for your structure. Other structure is a living being. That structure is working. You have to protect that structure as well if you have taken responsibility of your project. You have to understand that point. You have to think many times and then plan accordingly as an engineer, or else you will face problems. So what I say, you have to protect those existing structures around, if whatsoever, because your excavation force by machine shall impact vibrations onto possibly foundations of that building. You may disturb soil beneath that building. Even if you pump out water from that excavated area, that can draw particles from that building also, soil particles or mobility of water. You can damage that building. That point must be made very clear, because this is important one. I have seen such areas where excavation was done up to many meters for underground pumping stations, and soil was clay. Soil was clay. Dangerous soil. Water was there. When water is there, you have to pump out water. But is it easy, you think? It's not easy in clay soil, because water does not move on its own in layers. It stands there It remains there, it doesn't come out. So if it is case of clay, you have to bail out that water. And if your excavation in steps, suppose you are going 10 meters down or 15 meters down from ground level, certainly water will be there. And you have to take it out using some mechanism. And what is that mechanism? That mechanism is well point system for clay. Well point system. I have drawn some details of that. I'll show you sometimes. Means excavation is in benching. Benching means slopes, as big slopes and big steps gradually coming down to our level. And you install those well point system at all steps. If it's much deeper, maybe 3 steps you take, maybe 4 steps you take, and you have to form circuit of all these well points connected to pump, big pump. It is called Miller pump sometimes because trade name is Miller. These pumps were used by me for continuous bailing out water particles from clay. Because well point system is meant for that system, it pulls water slowly and collects it directly out to certain drainage system. Because clay does not permit good flow of water or accumulative flow of water, it allows you particles flow from soil particles. If because clay particles are very fine, it's difficult, you cannot disturb them as well. That's what I'm saying, you cannot disturb other building particles. And in certain cases, if that is situation, the certain buildings are there, then you have to provide certain vertical supports around your excavated area. Example is sheet piling you can provide, or diaphragm walls you can provide, so that your excavation and pumping impacts do not disturb those buildings, existing buildings. This was for clay soil. Now suppose soil is sandy. Sand would not stand on its own, it will collapse. Clay to some extent can retain its vertical status. It can retain to some extent, but sand will collapse. If it's dry sand and down the water, then you have to protect first vertical sides of sand, and then you have to provide a pit somewhere in foundation, that is called sump pit, and put there your submersible pump and excavate that drain in a grade that water from all area reach to that sump, and your pump can bail it out to some near manhole or some other source from where you can take it out permanently. These methods are required and you have to plan accordingly. That's what I'm saying. Excavation is not a layman activity. It's an intellectual activity. It's an activity that requires thinking, charting plan, understanding how to do it. And you understand also that once you are continuing bailing of water, you cannot stop that water dewatering. Dewatering continues. We call it dewatering also. Water is there, remove water from that portion. It's called dewatering, and it should be continuous until you come above level of water table. Once you have come above level of water table, then you can continue without causing any problems. Structural concrete you will need, then you can go on further. It would not cause any big difference because weight is already there on excavated soil. Weight means weight adequate to compensate for that soil we removed. Because water is there, we have removed soil in excavation. So water under its pressure tries to come out, and that's why we are concerned. After that, you can continue as normal. So excavation means you can say information you have to collect, utilities information, services information. Then you have to go through soil report. You have to understand what is that. Then you have to plan for your excavation pit. All these are very important steps, and only experience can teach you, and experience is first learned, is earned. So this was about excavation, and then we said that soil testing on site. I explained to you before also, when you reach certain level, your drawing says that we have considered this much bearing capacity in our design, and you must ensure on site that this bearing capacity of course does exist. You have to make sure by testing on site, when you reach that level, conduct soil test and ensure that that bearing capacity exists. Otherwise, you cannot do that. You have to redesign. If your bearing capacity is different, if it is more than required, fine, there is no problem. In certain cases, even foundation level was raised because soil which was designed for foundation, which soil, they were rocky area. Designer had considered soil, but site was rocky, and we tested. So it was agreed, it was decided we raise level of this foundation higher, so depth of foundation is reduced. It happens. Why to waste money when we can afford here? So it is in my experience that we raised foundation soils, foundations levels. It can be raised, it can be added also. Both possibilities are there. If suppose I'm not getting bearing capacity that is designed for, they said no, we have used this much capacity, you must have that on site, otherwise don't proceed further. So we have to test soil, we have to bring truck, they have to apply load on a steel plate, and they will give you this is bearing capacity of soil, safe bearing capacity. If it matches with design, it's fine. Or if it says no, you have to increase this, then you have to find a solution for that, and that solution is either go further down to get more, but that is not very good. Okay, you better improve that soil. Soil improvement means you have to consult and then decide what additional depth you have to excavate for soil improvement. And that soil improvement means you have to excavate further, and because excavation means you have to remove weaker soil from foundation. It may be half meter, it can be 25 centimeter, 30 centimeter, it will be more, depending upon what design you have, what you are resting with. So you can say that you may suppose it is decided you have to remove 50 centimeter or half a meter soil from below. You have to remove that and then compact that area, test its density, and then you import a material that is granular material. Granular means stone chips or hard stone with angles. You have to use a mix that it interlocks with its particles and automatically after compaction becomes like stone without adding cement and sand, no need. Compact it and in layers, then raise all 50 meters in 3 layers or in 2 layers. Then test bearing capacity, it is much higher than what is designed for. So this is called soil improvement. This is a must for weaker soils. It will give you benefit. If there is water, it will not move below your foundation, it will move only through this granular material, so your foundations shall not be impacted by chemical water. This is one benefit. Second, if there's some settlement, because it's a strong base, your settlement chances shall be reduced. This is all what about this. So I was talking about bearing capacity, and that's here. Bearing, this soil improvement and soil testing we have done. Then blinding, that's usual one, because your formation level means on which you have to rest your footings and foundations, that level must be made good, smooth, level, and that's done by concrete layer, which is called blinding, normal blinding, maybe M20 grade, M25 grade, depending upon your specifications. And once blinding is done, after layout and everything, excavation complete, exercise has been done, blinding tells you that I am here, you can use me for purpose of your foundation. And blinding means if there is some unevenness, there are some minor holes, there are some, you can say, caving in on that uneven layer, top level of blinding is one, and you have to cover with concrete. Then you can start your building, and that's what is coming: concrete protection, waterproofing below ground and above ground. I already explained to you, just repeat that whatever foundation you are going to make, you are going to do, complete surfaces of foundations, horizontal and vertical, all those surfaces which you produce on site, these must be protected from adverse impacts of soil and soil water. Soil or soil water must not touch surfaces of foundations both vertically and horizontally up to ground level. For that, we require waterproofing or protection of concrete from soil, and this is called concrete protection. Some people also call it waterproofing, so no problem, you call it waterproofing or soil protection of concrete. It is above ground as well as below ground. Both we'll talk later on. So on that blinding, you have to apply horizontally this membrane of bitumen, is called bitumen, and after that you can continue for your foundation works, that is called cast in situ concrete, which includes form work according to design, and also fabric cutting and binding or fabrication of reinforcing bars. Form work is there, reinforcement fabrication is there, reinforcement placement is there, concrete covers are there, or if you are using precast, pre-stressed concrete, generally that is not using foundations, but no problem. Then concrete class, as I said, concrete class we discussed before also, M20, M25, M30, M35, M40, M45 or whatever. This tells you this strength is 45 when you say, or 25 you say, this is 25 Newton per millimeter square or 250 kilogram per centimeter square. This is strength of compression, strength in compression. When you compress concrete in form of cube samples under this testing machine, compression testing machine, on 28th day, this should be minimum load that breaks that cube, and on 7th day this should be 70% of that. That is general understanding. So that is called grade of concrete. Higher designation of that, higher compressive strength, and lower designation is lower compressive strength. That is called grading of concrete, and there applies certain deviations, certain standard deviations. So a little, it should be little more than that. For example, we are saying 20 or 30, it should not exactly be 30 on 20, it should be 33, 34, like that. Means it should be more because these cubes are tested in control conditions, not in site conditions. Now move further. That is about reinforcement grade. Just like concrete has grade, reinforcement bars too have got certain grades. Generally 415 Newton it is. This your torus steel, high yield, we call it high yield stress steel, high yield strength. Then it's called low strength. This plain bars generally not used these days. Mild steel bars, plain bars, those were lesser than that. So means this way we go to use these bars, and these bars also are fabricated under certain technology, certain schedule that's called bar binding schedule. Previously it was 4466 under British Act. It was then 8666 and we have different one. Well, it's up to you how you fabricate your steel as far as fabrication is engineered. Then we go to soil backfill. Yes, for reinforcement, one more aspect I would tell you because it's very difficult and protection of reinforcement is very important because reinforcement steel bars means life of concrete. If your steel bars are rusted or not correctly bent or abused by you using them once, second time, third time, or you can say reuse bars, then they do not work for you. Then you are wasting your money. Explanation is don't use them rusted one and bring straight bar from factory. Don't accept bent bars. If your steel length is 12 meters or 14 meters, bring it straight, transport it straight to site. And if your site access does not allow trailer, you have to procure by trucks transportation only, then better cut there. Don't bring all length, bring part lengths half so that truck can bring straight bars. That is only an answer. You have to use additional overlap. That is better than using useless steel or scrap steel. And as far as protection from rusting is concerned, because rusting is oxidation, it's the result of oxidation. It converts your clear steel to red color in 2 days or 3 days once rain applies on this or moisture affects on this. Once it is rusted, it's no use to use included permanently in buildings. If you do that, this is nonsense. You can remove rust yourself by brush or by some other method or protect this from covering by polythene. You cover, first of all, don't keep rebars or steel on soil. Prepare a ground for that by bricks or by some other material, by some timber base or something. Keep your steel offloaded to that one. It should not touch ground soil. It should not come in contact with moisture. Mind it. And you keep there, cover with polythene all time. When you take out for fabrication, remove polythene and take out and then cover it. And whatever you fabricate, whatever you install on site, cover it. It's little difficult for you, but you are going to keep good steel, performable steel in your member, in your building. That is called professional work. Then, or if you can buy epoxy coated steel, buy that. That is better than everything. Epoxy coated steel. All steel bars are coated by epoxy, which does not have any impact of moisture or rain, but overlap length requires to be increased a little. Then go to soil backfill. This is very important. I talked at length last time. Soil backfill. Don't take it too easily. Don't take it a game or a child's play. This can destroy your building if not done rightly. Remember, this is a kind of package to your foundation. This packs of your bases, this packs of your foundations you call, this backfill holds that. Though we do not consider in designs that criteria, yet it is very important criteria. We consider only area, horizontal area for purpose of load distribution. Vertical area is also involved, but because vertical area is not reliable all time, it can be disturbed during horizontal movement, that is moment of earthquake, yet packing is there. It gives reaction to hold building for some moments or some minutes. If it is packed, it is compacted, it holds foundations safely. And if you don't do that, you are just buying vegetable to cut your vegetable and eat. That's all, nothing else. Backfill is not given due care. Wherever I see, I feel disappointed with whatever work they are doing, but they are least bothered. That is the purpose I am talking to you. People should know what we should do. Backfill means you are filling in spaces in foundation where there is no foundation. Wherever there is no foundation, you have to fill that back. But that's not easy. Not easy. You are getting soil. So first of all, you are excavating using that soil. That's not acceptable. You have to use a soil that helps your building. Means a soil where all particles are interconnected and cannot come out. Interconnected particles and cannot come out even by water action. Water should pass through them, but they should not be disturbed. Penetration or permeability of water should be allowed, but water should not stay there. That material you need for backfill, and that is called granular material. A material contains particles are granular, various sizes of grains, so that bigger grains contain smaller grains, and those smaller grains further contain further smaller grains, so it becomes a solid mechanism after compaction. And this compaction, this material should not puncture your waterproofing, so your waterproofing must be protected first by whatever method, using flax seal sheet or using brickwork or using blockwork. This material backfill should not touch your waterproofing or protection of concrete. And this backfill, once you have decided and tested that material in laboratory, you have to fill only in layers, say 20 centimeter loose you fill in, 20 centimeter or 200 millimeter you fill in. You have to water it, you have to compact it by machine. That's called compactor, plate compactor. If you don't have big one, small one you can use, plate compactor, and bring down this 20 or 200 mm thickness to 150 mm thick, and then test it. Find its results is minimum 98% of its laboratory tested value. Then fill another one and do it, compact it and test it, and whatever numbers you have, thickness you have to do accordingly until you come to ground slab bottom. This is backfill. It holds your building, remember, and if it is loose, your building shall remain loose. It can move this way or that way and cause problem to you in future. So backfill is very important activity to pack your building foundations. Remember, it's very important. Then piping. Backfill you are doing, but piping is there in backfill. So you have to take care of sewer line if it's there, or underground water line is there, or some other services are there. Generally, sewers lines are there only internally. Externally, no concern because you are working internally. Piping has to be taken care of, underground piping within building. This can be of whatever. So there can be chemical pipes if there's some laboratory, remember. Or there's some other means. There can be condensate drains also, which water comes and disposed of from air conditioning units internally. Various issues are there. Then you have to come to concrete block walls. Concrete block walls, hollow concrete block walls, or solid concrete block walls. What do you know about that? In our country, we are using generally bricks. All we people are using in foundations as well. They do not understand. If you tell them, they don't. They leave. Oh, you are going to tell me. Means they consider advice of engineer as a liability. Because I experienced this. Well, let them consider whatever they consider. Facts remain fact. Let us say what is brick. What is brick after all? It is clay. We mold clay into that brick mold and bake it. Put it in. After drying, or once it dried, put it in your kiln and heat it up. That is brick. Who bothers about quality of brick? What size it is? Size is never perfect. Its porosity is never perfect. Its character is never perfect. Its strength is never perfect. But who bothers about that? And moreover, this is not perfect material. You can use in wall which may not take load. In that wall, it's okay. You are putting in there. You are putting in internal walls, partition walls, or main walls. You can use them, but it should be of quality. Bricks are being used in crores in this country, and quality of bricks is rubbish. Previously, we used to call this first class brick, there's second class brick, there's third class brick, there's Jama bricks. These were considered when I was young and studying in my university, in my institution. We used to understand what is brick, how much water it should absorb when immersed in water for 24 hours. It was used not 20, more than 20%. Then what should be the strength? It should have ringing sound when two bricks are rung together like this. It should give ringing sound. And when you drop it, it should not break from height 7.5 meters. You drop it, it should not break. Diamond should be perfect. But it's not. It's no use. You are paying money, but you are not getting in return. So better avoid bricks or use machine bricks. Forget bricks. Come to blocks, concrete blocks, hollow concrete blocks, or solid concrete blocks. If you have provision of blocks in your area, better use them. Hollow concrete blocks are used where there is no load on that wall. And solid blocks are generally used in foundations if you have ultimately used blocks. So I will not recommend, I will recommend only concrete RCC to be used in foundations. Well, come what may, if you have to use, due to some reason, use solid concrete blocks, not hollow blocks. Hollow blocks can be used above ground, in cavity walls, in partition walls, inter walls. And what is cavity wall? You may ask me a question. That is the right question. What is cavity wall? There are two walls in that wall. two skins, external particularly which is exposed to weather. I'm talking of that wall. Let us say this external wall is exposed to weather. One block wall is outside, that's external skin, one is inside. And there's a gap between two, let us say 50 mm gap. That gap is there because we have to fill that gap with insulation that is called polystyrene, or in our world we call it thermocol. That layer can be filled with thermocol ply, that is included polystyrene, low density polystyrene, that can be 32 kg per meter cube density. And these two walls are connected by ties, galvanized ties. 1 square meter can have 3 ties, and all connections are there. And this wall is connected to a column, this column and that column. These both columns must be connected mechanically by another tie. This is called cavity wall ties, and it's called wall tie. That's called different tie, means which connects RCC column to wall, and we short fire that tie into concrete. After concrete is open, we just use a gun, Hilti gun or some other gun. There is a small bullet, and we short fire that tie, wall, technique tie, whatever tie you have, to column at every 3 layers, so that these walls remain connected permanently to these columns. These are not disturbed when there is a movement. So there is external skin, that's external block, there's internal block, and a insulation cavity connected by a tie and filled with polystyrene. This is called cavity wall. This cavity wall has a function. This cavity wall insulates because there is polystyrene in that. This first of all does not allow complete heat from outside to transfer to inside. Means heat insulation is there, then noise insulation is also there. It serves two purposes. If you are going to use air conditioning, you shall use lower quantity of tonnage. Means economy is there. Of course, I will not recommend air conditioning, but you have to use. So this serves that purpose. It helps you in deflecting away heat from building and economizing your electrical expenses on AC. This is called cavity wall, generally used for external walls. Again, two skins of walls, one thicker, one thinner, polystyrene within, wall ties connections, and wall is connecting to columns, and portion of that hollow with column can be filled with concrete both ends, and this remains non-load bearing but thermally performing wall, acoustically performing wall. This is having that property. And internal walls, you can do single one, you can say 150 mm thick or 100 mm thick block walls you can do with hollow, and you can use that for internal partitions. This is block masonry. No load can be transferred to these. And if these walls are longer, let us say 8-meter walls it is, then you have to provide certain column in between for purpose of bonding, because more length means there is a chances of crippling. So in between you have to provide 1 or 2 smaller columns horizontally as well as vertically if height is more, which are called bonding columns or bonding beams. That is what is. Yes, also about the strength of this block, which is very important point. We are saying we have concrete blocks, but what sort of blocks are these? That's a question. Generally, I have observed, I have experienced, there are 7 newtons or 9 newtons or 13 newtons like that blocks are used. What is this 7 Newton, 9 Newton, or whatever prescription is there? This is not grade of concrete, mind it, first of all. There is no confusion in that. This is not grade of concrete. This is grade of strength that this block takes. Means whatever size of block is, let us say 40 centimeter or whatever size, that area, if you multiply it with this grade, you will get load on that block. That block shall take that much load when tested in laboratory. That is called 7 Newton or 9 Newton or whatever. You have to keep in mind, this is not concrete grade. This is loading grade on projected area of that block when tested in laboratory. This is specific because this was not clear to people many. There was some confusion and nobody raised questions. We just refer to code and we got this answer. Well, that is experience. Then we go back to, now this was concrete block walls. Then go to roofing. Roofing. Maybe roofing is different for you, but roofing is a structure in itself. A structure, a different kind of a structure. On roof, on top slab or whatever is top slab where terrace is open to sky, that RCC slab you have to provide with a floor, just like every floor below that slab you provide with finishes like flooring. Some provides with stone floor, granite floor, marble floor, mosaic floor, or whatsoever, timber floor, this floor and that floor. Roof where it's open to the sky is also provided with a different kind of floor, and that is called roofing. What are purposes of that? Some people use roof for air conditioning equipments, some use for someone else, water tanks, and for many reasons. Well, that is service area. You can consider service area. It may be accessible to technicians who maintain that area of the machines. It may not be accessible to you or may be acceptable to you. Some portion may be accessible to you. This, first of all, slab of roof is designed including weights of all these machines. There may be chiller, there may be air handling unit, there may be copper pipes running water, or there may be something else, water tanks. All that slab take, but there is rain, that care has to be taken. Discharge from these machines, care has to be taken. Then heat from sun, that care has to be taken. This care must be taken. And dust. All these agencies mean wind, sun, rain, act on your roof. You have to digest them. And if you cannot digest, your roof will be dirty, useless. So what should be done? You have to think what should be done. Because a slab below or room below that roof should be comfortable. Because there is a roof above, heat can go to that room. Leakage can go to that room, water leakage. So this room below will be uncomfortable. You have to solve. Here what they usually do in this country, what I have seen, they call it mud fasta flooring, or they fill some clay on that slab after applying some bitumen or some light, black bituminous oil or bituminous paint, whatever, and they fill with soil, clay soil or bhusa or some dung in that, and they do some other kind of tiling, small tiles, very very small tiles they put on that, and they say roofing is done. For them it is done, but for me it's not done. I don't believe in that. Reason? First of all, okay, waterproofing is fine, but you are using Clay, again soil, again problem. When it takes water, it swells and it dries out its strength. So your purpose is not met. Professionally, you see, we call it a roofing system. And what is that? It should take care of waterproofing. It should take care of sun heat or solar radiations. It should take care of all other mechanism, whatever is there. Slab is there, cast and done. We have to chip out that slab so that we have to fill in something there. 1%, 1.25% of gradient is required, slope is required. At one end, at an other end, where there's water outlet, rainwater outlet, that should be minimum 50 mm or 2 inches. And this portion, which is highest one, 1.25% gradient or slope should come and stay there. This portion may be 200 mm, maybe 250 mm, depending upon gradient length. Length from that point where your outlet exists and this point, this distance may be 5 meters, maybe 10 meters, maybe whatever. You have to define that and bring slope here. You have to put all line there. After your machines are done, or machines plinths are done, I mean to say, machine plinth must be done before. AHC play, herring plinth or chiller plinth or whatever plinths are there, that must be taken care of before doing this. That you have chipped all, scabbled all, and you just profile this slope all over. This slope is profiled 50 mm minimum and maximum whatever it comes. You have to fill this with cement mortar, flexible cement mortar or flexible concrete, that's fiber concrete. Two types of metals are there. Either fill it with flexible mortar in low proportioning of cement, not high proportioning, low proportioning. For example, 1:4:16, 1:8 or 1:4, 1:8 say. Different types are there, depends. Means it should not be very rich in cement. It should not be rich in strength, but in fill. Or there is foam concrete available, which is very light material, to 300, 400, 500 or 600 kilogram per meter cube. Concrete is 2.5 ton per meter cube, and this may be 500 or 0.5, 0.6, 0.7 ton per meter cube. There's much difference. This is very light but strong. So use foam concrete or use light mortar. In panels, you make panels there, not continuously you do it. In panels, one by one, you in one panel you do it, then alternative panel, and then alternative panel, and after that you do other one. This is done all over that. This is called roofing first phase. Means you have filled, you have prepared that slope, that gradient, so that water flow is clear. Then you have to protect this with waterproofing. Apply your waterproofing membrane on that, and there are two kinds of that. One is cold applied material and one is torch material, is hot applied. You can do either of them in normal areas, but in areas where there is chances of fire like refineries or in plants, you have to apply only cold one, not hot one. So you apply that, your specialist contractor or applicator would apply that perfectly. And then you have to test it. You have to test that. How to test that? Completely close all your outlets of roof, seal them, and flood this area with water. Enough thickness, and you have to wait for 3 days, 4 days. You have to see water is coming out below or not. If water doesn't come out below, this is okay. And if there is a problem, you have to take care of that. Generally, it happens, it doesn't come out because waterproofing membrane is there. And that waterproofing membrane prevents this water flow. And actually, this is test of waterproofing membrane. This is not test of concrete. So your test is passed. Then you can remove that water. You can open all your closet, all your outlets, and water is drained out. Then what to do? You cannot use this waterproofing membrane for your live loads, for erections. So there are two further treatments are there. One is you have to lay all over polystyrene high heavy duty, that is called extruded polystyrene. You have to lay everywhere. Polythene, not polythene, polystyrene heavy duty, say 35 kilogram per meter cube, you have to lay everywhere. And but because this does not stay, it shall fly with wind and it shall be adversely impacted by rays, sun rays. You have to further cover it by two materials. One material for one area and another material for another area. When certain portion is accessible where you can walk in after roof is completed, and certain portion is not accessible which has different material. So you shall apply concrete tiles or flagstones in area where you can walk on, and that in a portion which is not going to be used for walking, there you can put stone chips, globular, circular globular stone chips. So pavement partly and cover with chips partly. That is treatment of that surface, and it is called roofing. And then there are parapets where you can take this waterproofing into your height of parapet, say 6 inches, 150 or 200 mm, cut a groove in that and insert it, and then provide a flashing, aluminum flashing around below, it means in L shape, or you can say just vertically. This flashing you have to provide so that because on wall there is no tile, there is no polystyrene, this flashing shall reflect sun rays so that your waterproofing is not impacted upon. That is called flashing, aluminum flashing. This is waterproofing called of roofing waterproofing, or you may call whatever is a part of roofing. Then you can just fill in those joints of tiles or flagstone with bituminous material, whatever materials, or whatever ways they have, means water shall run away when there is rain because slope is there. And this is treatment of roofing. I'll go further. Then plastering and rendering. Plastering and rendering. Why I'm explaining to you? Because this is giving you benefit of how it is done and how it is supervised. Both are there. What is plaster and what is rendering? Why we call it that? Actually, here we call everything plastering. Internal portion or internal surfaces of walls are called plastering, and external surfaces exposed to weather are called rendering. These are definitions of this material, plastering and rendering. Here I have seen the just do materials like the plaster material, like and just do it. This is no good. Even if you are doing brick masonry, there is a requirement that this plaster should be connected to block joints or brick joints. There is a specification, there is a requirement. Nobody cares for that. When you do brick masonry, you should rack out joints. Rack out joints between two layers, two courses. You should rack out joints. And if you cannot rack out that time, later on you chip out them. Plaster material must go between two bricks. That means, let us say 12 mm material should go and interlock between two bricks. It is very tough Tough or not tough, requirement is there. Here what happens? Nobody bothers. They just do it and show a finish. And after 1 month or 2 months or 3 months, when you go there, you will find certain cracks somewhere or peeling off a plaster somewhere. But what should be done actually? What we do on blocks? We do not directly do plaster on that. Not this way. I'm not talking of fittings. Fittings are done before plaster. Fitting means electrical piping, conduiting. That's different material. We talk in service. What I'm talking is application of plaster mortar, which contains lime, which contains cement, which contains sand, fine sand and coarse sand both, and maybe some admixture. This is our plaster material composition. But because walls are block wall and walls are big sizes, externally and internally both, we have to protect, we have to strengthen this plaster, and we have to protect cracking. We have to use a mechanism within plaster itself so that a little kind of reinforcement is provided in that, and that is not steel reinforcement, that is lathing, L-A-T-H, lathing and meshing. Galvanized material, which we call XFAMAT by trade name, expanded material. Material of galvanization which is expanded in mesh form or in angle form or in T form, whatever section, that is called expanded material. Where there are joints between two surfaces, example RCC column and stone wall or block wall or brick wall, two different materials are there. These materials do not behave similarly. So a mesh type comes, we call it mesh. We connect half on this side and half on that side, half on column and half on block or brick, and connect it to wall by nails, special kinds of nails, and that is vertically as well as horizontally, both where it's required. XFAMAT is connected, expanded metal, and where there are corners, we have to provide corner angle. Where this end, we have to provide L shape or U shapes, whatever is available, provide there. And where this top ceiling, we have to provide that U there as well. We have to define boundaries of this plaster. And where there is piping coming in, conduit coming in, on that also we have to provide that mesh. So area become, you can say, XFAMAT application or expanded metal lath application, both internally as well as externally. That is called preparation of surface for plastering and rendering. This reinforcement is very important, and it looks like that many material profile exists there, and with height is much or longer, you have to apply additional material there also. Then you have to, after this, you have to, because this material shall be done in profile, means vertically this material will be in plumb, horizontally also this is a line as well as in same profile. Then you provide dots on that, plaster dots at various locations to define thickness of plaster there. Small dots you can provide. Then you have to decide thickness of layer, thickness of plaster layer. Generally 12 mm is adequate for internal work, but it can be lesser also, because we do not want to cover RCC metal with that thickness. Okay, we cover, then we form dots of 12 mm, and outside it should be more. So outside we can take in two layers, not in one layer. So these dots which you have provided, this gives you final finish line. First layer, if you have to do, there's a machine, we can just to throw that and provide a kind of rough base with that plaster and cure that, and then we apply layer on that mortar layer and finish that one. So what is there? There is first racking of joints, you can say joints between stone or between block masonry and between brick masonry. This must be racked, and then the preparation of experiment, then dot formation, and then spraying of material for purpose of preparation, and then laying complete mortar and finishing it. This is for both. Externally we do in 2 layers, internally in 1 layer. This is plastering. We don't do here, I don't know reason for that, but it should be done. And when there is a glue requirement externally, architecturally there may be some requirement. Okay, this is joint here, we want to provide some gap in this plaster, we can provide a decoration glue there, and that can be taken out later by timber or by some other material. That is what is defined. Now maybe you understand what I said. Let's move further to flooring. What is flooring about? Do we really flooring, when I say flooring, I mean to say yes, okay. Flooring can be any type. Cement flooring, you say, mosaic flooring, or you can say marble flooring, epoxy flooring, any type flooring can be there. Timber flooring. Flooring is not limited. In one room you are doing marble, in other one you are doing mosaic, in third one you are doing something else, for example raised floor, which is for computers. There are varying classes of flooring, and you are doing somewhere only cement floor, I mean to say cement concrete floor. So you have to know in every floor what is defined in your design. Floor specification or finishes, wall specific, everything is designed. So you have to first prepare a underfloor which is common for everyone. Suppose flooring thickness is 50 mm. Let us say, maybe more, maybe 75 mm also, it depends. But let us say 50 mm it is. Then there is one base and one finishing. Base should be prepared first and then finishing is very common, but sometimes people do both together, which is very difficult. Generally speaking, 75 mm average is taken for thickness, in which there is undercourse of mortar or concrete, you can say 12 mm aggregate concrete, 12 mm to 6 mm varying, and cement. That mix as concrete is used, that's called screed. Actually in our language call it floor screed. Floor screed is done all over without any problem. Prepare your base. Prepare means scrap, is what I call hack it or scabble RCC surface to some extent that its exposure of aggregates is available, and then clean it and apply slurry and pour your concrete screed in that area and level it. This is same level generally, hardly a difference of say in 5 meter, maybe half centimeter. Means you can say, because there is no flow of water in that room, is generally negligible gradient, and this screed is done everywhere after your floor piping is over. Floor piping means there is some services, utilities going through your floor. All those must be completed, and whatever is passing through that floor to wall must also be completed. This screed is done very fast, and this is ready, cured. Then you can start your tiling work on floor, or your stone masonry on floor, sorry, marble stone masonry on floor, or granite floor, or mosaic floor, whatever you want. You can continue that according to your method statements that you worked out, you got approved, and there could be possibility of your, you can say, raised floor. What is raised floor? Raised floor means where there's a computer room, generally floor is raised, and below that floor voids exist to take all these wiring and cabling and systems of computer, so that only computer systems are exposed and maintenance is no problem for that. That's called raised floor. There are different details of that. And then that's flooring, specific floorings like electrical rooms where you have, or warehouse you have, or some heavy load area you have, workshop you have. In that case, you cannot depend on ordinary flooring, as we said, marble stone or cement concrete floor, or like that. You have to provide there a strong floor, and that application is called epoxy flooring. Epoxy flooring, which is a specialist application of epoxy. Epoxy means high degree of polymerized material. Polymerization, actually high power plastics, you may say. It is polymerization of material that produces epoxy. Chemical, it's chemical, organic chemical. It is carbon-based chemical. It is, you can say, it is a product which is byproduct of petrochemicals. Epoxy means very hard. It gives you very hard surface. It gives you wear-resistant surface. It gives you oil-resistant surface. It gives you erosion-resistant surface. It gives you that type of surface where heavy hand can be applied. And this is done in place once you have to do flooring, because epoxy flooring is not very thick, it's very thin. It may be 1.5 mm thick, it can be 2 mm, 3 mm thick, like that. Epoxy floor is exposed one. It's like you have to use this properly. Means whatever floor you have laid there on which it has to come, there you have to etch that surface. Etch means remove latents from that surface using hydrochloric acid, 10% concentration, and then use paper tape, clean that area immediately because this is acid. And then you have to mix this material of epoxy flooring according to manufacturer's instruction and apply that by, you can say, squeegees. Squeege, I mean to say, we call it wiper, and that application is done in 1 coat or 2 coat. That is called epoxy flooring. And if it's thicker, then you use certain granular material on that, very strong granular material on that in duplications, and then leave it there after finding that, after refining that. And this epoxy flooring is generally used, I said, where this hard work, heavy work, and this very strong floor. It doesn't require any curing, but it is done. And there is rubber flooring as well. There is timber flooring as well. Maples are the generally in courts and surface like that. And this I'm talking about internal flooring. Then there may be different kind of flooring also, special flooring. Well, this depends upon what sort of specifications are given to you. Then can be any more. Carpet flooring, though these days it's not used, but there was a time it was used. Carpet flooring, which was also one time very significant, but is very rarely used nowadays permanently. I have given these sketches of flooring somewhere in my talks. Can refer to, I'll show you again sometimes, like not today, some other day. Then it is doors, windows, ironmongery. Doors, windows, ironmongery. Doors previously used to be done by timber. We have used lot of timber in doors, framing and door shutters. Now, generally, timber is still used, I cannot say no, but very expensive it is. Very expensive. But aluminium has taken its place in place of timber, but still framing is done. Framing to support that or sub-framing of that. Doors are actually very basics for purpose of security, and similarly windows and ironmongery. Just like doors can be used aluminium or some other material, windows are also there which are used aluminium or other materials. Generally aluminium, though it's also good for strength as well as for flexibility, and there is no attack by, you can say, by termites, and it has long life. It doesn't expand immediately, it doesn't swell. Timber can swell if it's not properly seasoned, and timber is more difficult to maintain. So aluminum and steel framing has come up. Steel framing and aluminum framing, but subframe are still done. In some cases framing is also done in wood. So it depends upon your detailing, what is required, and no one can detail this on drawings, because real details shall come from fabricator or manufacturers of doors and windows. They shall give you what they can give you. Extruded aluminum frames are there, specific designs are there, what they manufacture of those extrusion of aluminum. They will provide you samples and you will select out of them. Similarly for windows and design of shutters, these are all architectural items, and a structural requirement is there. But because these are designed in different shapes, so you can just give on your designs or in drawings typical identification. I want this sort of, and that can be taken care of by manufacturer or factory. But only point of connection is here, how these doors or windows are given seals, and particularly windows, how seals is given so that building accepts water tightness status. You can say airproof building or airtight building, weatherproof building that we are talking of. Weatherproof building is done when doors and windows are closed and no impact of weather can enter building. And because there's glazing in windows, that glazing should be of what sort, how many percentage of heat or it should reflect away, how many percentage of heat volume it should take into inside. All that depends upon design, what is there, and this all what's in your doors and windows production. And ironmongery, which are fittings onto those doors and windows. What sort of fittings are required? A long list of ironmongery is there. It's not a small list. All ironmongeries are different. Bolts are there, locks are there, tower bolts are there, kick plates are there, extensions are there. So many definitions are there. These are all shown and listed in your design, and you have to take care of that very particularly, because if you buy wrong material, it shall not work or shall not fit in. Then comes kitchen units. Kitchen, which nowadays is very advanced, but kitchen units have been used for long in various countries. Modern kitchens and other kitchens and all kitchens, that is all specific one. You have to define only what you want, but details you shall have to take from experts, what sort of metal they have, or they can manufacture according to your required. That is altogether non-structural items, finishing items or decorative use item. You require fume cupboard in that. You require excellent sinks there. You require many ways so that it should not impact internally. It should discharge all its fumes outside, and it should serve you with all water supply requirement, everything, and it should give you complete racks, storage and everything so that it looks tidy kitchen. And wet areas means, what are wet areas? Kitchen is also a part of wet areas. Toilet is a wet area, is a primary toilet or secondary toilet or only WC toilet or bathtub or whatever is there. That all constitutes wet area, which is differently specified. Tiling is there, tile floor means non-slippery tile floor, walls are tiled in. Air condition is also required in some cases, some only extract fan is required. So much detailing is done there. That depends upon your requirement. It's nothing to do much with the structure, but structurally it should be watertight. That is important because kitchen areas and wet area flooring is very important. Before flooring, what should be done? That requires attention. That is attention given to wet areas. Means floor which you have done RCC, surface you have done RCC, slab you have done, that should be applied with waterproofing treatment before going for further. That is important here. All wet area required to be applied with waterproof application or wet areas so that water does not release out to below floor or whatever. Though there is suspended ceiling, there is false ceiling, even then water can come out because there will be some soil pipes below, some cast iron pipe below, or some other pipes, plastic pipes there. So waterproofing of that area on floor, around your holes where pipes are moving out, that perfectness is required, and that is important before working on flooring. And then we go to finishes. We have talked finishes, actually all are finishes what we talked here in. These are all finishing items, maybe plastering item, it means that on this and that, whatever. And decoration. What is decoration? Decoration has no limit. It can be ordinary whitewash, it can be paint, distemper, it can be thermal plastic paint outside, or it can be whatever you do, or woodwork inside, or whatever else you do in glass. What finishes you do, all are very important but expensive. People do so much in ceiling. I don't recommend, but they do. They do by plaster of Paris. Well, I cannot say anything. It's up to them. And special items. Special items, not necessarily that's every building. You can have special item. Decide what your furnishing is also still sometimes contracts cover many items which are not linked to construction engineering. There are so many items. Lockers are there. In certain electronic courses, some other items are there. So it depends upon what you are doing, what sort of content. You have to study that separately. You have to go through those requirements independently. Additional study you have to conduct for those specifications and everything. That's a big job if it is there. If it is not there, don't worry. You may have to coordinate with those people. Those are supplying those. For example, multidisciplinary items are used. You are dealing with electronics. Punch card is there, access card is there, CCTV is there, SCADA arrangement is there, many more, many more. You can't say one or two. It depends what you are going to do in that case. Then say, sit down for maybe no problem. So special items are limitless. I'm not just confining myself to that. Testing and commissioning. Testing and commissioning. This is actually not considered very important, but it is very important. It is very, very important. What is testing and commissioning? And what is testing? In buildings, when I used to plan, I used to take three fixes. Electrical it may be, air conditioner HVAC it may be, or plumbing it may be, or something else it would be. We used to take first fix, second fix, and final fix. For example, when you laid conduits in some slab or in foundations, junction boxes, all that, or walls, conduits, and switch panel boxes, all this we used to count in first fix. This is electrical first fix, this is air conditioner mechanical first fix, this is this first fix, and this is that first fix, whatever discipline is there. Take in program like this, then come on, expand your program, and when you are doing some other item, now fix two, electrical fix two, mechanical first two, like that. And then at end we say this is final testing. When we do piping work, we lay pipe of plumbing, for example, which is a drainage pipe or something else. We have to conduct a test on that. That's called pressure test. Every pipe when you lay, a test is required to be conducted according to codes. You cannot avoid that. You have to conduct that test, and that should pass. Certain bar is defined that this should take this much bar positively. It defines separately for plumbing work, for mechanical work, for it defines separately. That is called first fix. Then you do driving of wires into your conduits, or you fix HVAC ducting on room, and wrap them with your water or your vapor barrier, and fixing all those fittings and volume control dampers and bands and fire control dampers, all that. Means these form different type of fixes. You're then drawing wire and testing these wires, and then you're fixing your hangers for light fittings, correcting to size. First fix, second fix. This way we do. You're installing air conditioning units on roof, chillers on roof, air handling units on roof, copper piping on roofs or on ground, wherever you do. Everything is constituted or covered within first fix and second fix. And when time comes for final testing, this means whole system is tested at that time. If it fails, then you have to test it again, repair it. This is general. This is called testing, first fix testing, second fix testing, and final testing. But when you deal with some other projects, like industrial project, facilities project, or power station, or some other like major project, you have to test and commission that project, because it got many equipment, it got many machines, many vessels, which are part of trains or supporting trains, whatever. You have to first define your pre-commissioning stage. You have to pre-commission first, means you have to go to site with all quality guys, you guys and others, and write defects, which are called punch list or snacks. All that takes time. This covers civil, this covers electrical, mechanical, all disciplines are covered into that. That is called punch list or snag list or whatever you can name it, means defects are there. These defects must be covered if can be covered immediately, and this stage you have to find on all services as well. This is called pre-commissioning stage. After that is over, you have to come to testing method, testing and commissioning. Means you have to commission all whatever you have delivered, equipment, machines, everything requires commissioning individually as well as in circuit of trains. It takes months sometimes according to contract and according to regulations or according to codes. You have to test for 1 month or you have to test for 2 months, and if fails again you have to test. You have to satisfy that the system is working, and that's called testing and commissioning at final stage. And this is very critical portion, because whatever defects fall behind, they will expose themselves and you have to do it again. This is testing and commissioning. This is very significant part of construction project, testing and commissioning. And here is what happens: you fail sometime because everything is not perfect. Here you have to take care of all chemicals, whatever are there, all systems, technologies are there. You have to define, and experts are there who supervise this testing and commissioning. And for plants, actually facilities plants, this is very complicated arrangement. This is very important arrangement because you have to do that. It's not that easy. Who's there? I don't know. Okay. Who's coming? I don't know. Yes. Hello. Yes. Hello. Good morning. Yes, please. Good morning. Hello. I'm fine. Thank you. I'm fine. Hello. Yes. Yes. Okay. Okay. Fine. Yes, fine. Excellent. Fine. Okay. Thank you. Bye. My God, disturbing for nothing. Yeah. Well, I was talking of commissioning. Somebody came in between. What to do? Will keep coming. All right. So we are talking of testing and commissioning, which is a different and very cumbersome and specialist process. Then we go to design estimated quantities and then issue for information. I know this is a part of pre-site work, design estimated quantities. These are design estimate quantities. Maybe you have experienced that or not experienced that, but this is also very important. Without designing, you design and quantify. Can someone do that? Yes, it can be done. Without doing detailed design, we can quantify based on experience. Don't call it thumb rules. I don't call it. Some people use thumb rules for that. No, this is not thumb rules. You have enough experience to understand what is going to be in, how much reinforcement you're going to place in, how much concrete you're going to do that. Within 5 to 10% variation, you can quantify that. Foundations, superstructures, structures, all. And once you do that, you say you're taking size of column, it can vary 5 centimeter only. You are taking a certain steel, you know per cubic meter can be 100 kilogram, it can be 80 kilogram, it can be 150 kilogram in some cases. When it was, this working stress methods, there were variations, even sometimes 150 kilograms, sometimes 180 kilogram per cubic meter. But now, because we are using limited state method, there's some restriction. You can use, okay, 100 kilograms is enough for me. If it is very high rise, okay, let us increase this. That way we can say yes. If you have design, you have budgetary design, or you have schematic design, or if you have real design, we can then quantify. That's no problem. We can go exactly. But estimation design, sometimes during tender stage, when it's big project, we don't have complete details, and design is our part or responsibility ours, then we can take certain variations and submit our tender. So it's risky, but it happens. It's business. You have to compile a tender. You are forced to do that. Well, it's not very common. It applies somewhere in some cases. That's why I'm taking this route to explain to you. Is this any such stage which requires to fulfill this criteria as well, or you can say when there's budgetary estimate is given. Budgetary means you have to just define certain possibilities of budget, how much budget is allowed. Though it will vary later, but at least indicative budget should be there. This all required there. So we now can say design estimated quantity, and this is then another one is issued for information drawings, issued for building permit drawings, issued for construction drawings, revised drawings. Okay, now what is this list of drawings? Here I have seen just somebody takes with one drawing, two drawing and comes me, this is my drawing I received, I want to construct this building, I want to construct this one. This happens here. Because it's not their fault, it's our fault. Architects work in stages because they just want to get payment first. I have seen many cases that okay, this is one, what is this? This is a plan, this is a design given to me and I want to work on this building. There's nothing, just a plan. On that plan there are 2 or 3 plans and that's it. Now imagine what a joke. No architectural drawing, no structural drawing, no services drawing, nothing, just to do it. Some people comes to, don't worry, just give us some lines, I can construct myself. It happens not here. I worked on many such plans for my friends who are well engineered, but they said no, we'll do it, our people will do it there. In Kerala there are experts, in Tamil Nadu there are experts, in Delhi, everywhere we'll find such highly profile experts who can do everything themselves. Just give them, even just dimensions only, just setting up plans so that we don't waste our space. They are worried about wasting space. They are not worried about quality of work. And I am sure I gave them, they must have constructed. This is very powerful country. Very powerful citizens. They are ready to take risks of millions of rupees they are going to spend. But when they go to market to buy vegetable or bread or some other community of few hundreds, they fight for that. You are charging 10 rupees more. If they have to pay to rickshawala 15 rupees, you are charging 15, you charge 10. They fight for that, but they don't fight when they spend millions of rupees. This is beauty of our people. I sometimes enjoy this and laugh on this. What sort of people these are, ill-informed. It's really very, very cruel sometimes to say that. Wait a minute, please, sorry. Yes, who is getting in? Yes, good morning. Hello? Hello? Are you there? I'm not getting you. Please, I'm not getting you. That's disturbing. So, if such people come, what you do? I have many such instances. And really, sometimes I feel irritated. One person came to me. This is my plan. I have started excavation. I asked him, when you started excavation, why do you come to me? No, this was given to me by some architect, some engineer. Just see that I want to realize, okay. I saw his drawing. I told him, stop excavation. And call your contractor here. I want to discuss with him. Why are you stopping excavation? Because you have started excavation. You are not ready. I'm not ready for this. You are starting. Stop it. He was confused. I asked him, ask your contractor to come here. That contractor came and I asked that person also, get me some soil sample. I want to test your soil. He has started excavation without even knowing, because he was given some drawing. And that drawing was rubbish. There was no design in that, just copy paste. Anything. And this was factory, some project like that. And Baba Adam ke zamane ki footing was there. Whatever you do, they just are interested to issue something and take money. This is practice here. No engineering is counseled. Nothing. What you expect in that public to change them, can you change them? You break your skull with wall, you cannot change them. And those designers who do a lot in designs, And I really feel them are they're wasting their time. Those structural engineers, highly profiled doctorate and master's degree, calling themselves with pride were structural engineers. Yes, they are structural engineers, of course. They do very good designs. They spend a lot of time on calculations, on codes and all that. But what is end result? Who looks after that? Who cares for that? They never visit site. They never see what's happening and nobody calls them. Because everybody is master in this country. They spoil everything. Nobody explores soil. Nobody know without soil report what you are designing. My question to structural, they assume, okay, assume, then they assume for work, you assume for designs. You are assuming something and workman who's on site is assuming something else. So your design is only limited on paper, not on soil. You are accepting everything and they are also accepting everything. This is beautiful professional engineering in my beautiful country. So it irritates sometimes, but you have no way out. You cannot change people. Maybe 1% people are there who may accept you, but 99% won't accept you. What to do in that case? One person came to me. He is known to me. I have got this drawing. I have some dispute with the architect. I want to quit that architect. And this is drawing. You take care of this further. Okay. He told me that architect is asking for 65,000 rupees for design. I cannot pay you. You are my friend. You do it for me. Okay, I will do it for me. I asked him many questions. He did not reply anything. You have come to me to get support. How can I support without knowing problem? I went through that design, copy paste completely. Height of floor is different, but stairs are same design, same riser, same stuff, and same height, same numbers. There's a lift, but without any mechanical, without any lift detail, without any lift size. Everything is there. No soil report. I told him this is John 4. It's dangerous. I don't know. All are constructing buildings. If buildings fall, my will also fall. I don't want good building. Don't want zero defect. Just help me. I told him I have to see soil. Okay, don't conduct soil report, but let me go and see. No, I have asked contractor. He says I'll put some sand below and that will work. He shall put some sand below for foundations and it shall work for earthquake forces. Now, what can you say about this case? People are not interested in getting good work. For whom you can work? How can you work? How can you help people? Even if you want free service, deliver free service, they don't want to accept. Forget your consultancy fee. So I was very angry with that person. Why you are coming to me when you are going to accept that person's? That person, the labor contractor, labor rate contractor. You are accepting what he's saying. You are asking a doctor to give you prescription what you want. I am doctor of building. You are asking me to write to do whatever you want me to do. Why you come to me? Why you might have? I want to see something. Why don't you allow me to see something? So you are giving me tension. I am asking you lift size. You are saying you are giving me tension. You just want something unknown. You want to do that. You want to believe on a person who is foolish. Can an electrical person who works in Saudi Arabia even do your building? You are giving work to that person. What degree of foolishness you can call it? Believe me, it is not first case. It happens with me many times. That's why I don't get any work. Because they consider me useless. Okay, I'm useless, no problem. But you are spoiling your building. You are going to spend your money. He says, I will supervise myself. Okay, supervise yourself. You are very qualified. For them, supervision is only control of labor, nothing else. That is supervision. Arrange material, that is supervision. Provide facilities, is supervision. And get work done. Here, engineering is a failure. in every sector, particularly in construction sector. You go to metro and see how stations are built. No controls at all, except precast is done in factory. Cast in situ, no control. Stainless steel railing, no control. But it is metro international work. I'm not criticizing it. I'm just saying negligence of those who supervise it. It is complete negligence of engineers. I only blame my community because you are earning bad name because of your negligence, not because of your capability. You are capable, but you are lazy. You do not take interest. If you cannot control concrete, you cannot control work. What can you control? If you don't know how to control concrete, if you don't know how to help yourself, who can help you? Whatever specifics you follow, I don't mind, but at least follow that correctly. If somebody asks you something, you don't know anything, you leave to site person, site foreman, site supervisor, and don't go again and see. When I have not seen any professional here when some concrete goes on, even it is drain or it is pavement, you should be there. No, leave to him and go away. Just you are there for making bills, making certification of payments. This is your job only. There is no meaning of any seminar in this country. There is no meaning of any congress. These are all for formality's sake. No meaning of any journals because people are not interested. We are not interested in fundamental engineering. We are not interested in professional engineering. We are just interested to be called engineers by degrees. I am BTech, I am MTech, I am PhD, I am this and I am that. After that, full stop, buffer stop. Your engineering is not being used in field. Delivery is free of engineering input. Then where is professional delivery? Why we not fight for that? People will not teach us. Nobody will teach us. Why should they? They don't know anything. You have to work, but you have earned failure, nothing else. People say, study international company, big company, gas company, this company. What is international? If you are not delivering service to requirement, you may be American company, you may be England company, you are rubbish. And if you are giving delivery requirement, you may be local company, I respect that. I least bother from where you are. But people are same, don't forget. Workers are from this country, engineers are from this country. They are not well trained in education as well as in field. If you are learning such bad works, bad quality works, you are not learning anything. In fact, you are losing everything. My thinking is completely different. Concrete for sake of concrete is not concrete. If you are not supervising anything, if you are not checking anything, if your quality control engineer is sleeping, you are sleeping, just do something and go away. You are never going to batching plant, what guy is doing, how he's doing. Nobody goes. Nobody, I've not seen anybody taking slump. I've not seen anybody checking concrete temperature. What is worried about curing? Nobody is caring about that. So what is all about? If you call it engineering, that is your outlook. You call it engineering, or you call it just a shop, call it a shop. I condemn it. I am sure everybody shall criticize me. I least bother. I am not talking for my family. I am talking for profession. You may be chief engineer, you may be engineer in chief, only in title. Your people are not delivering. What's the use of yours being there? You are responsible for that. Chief engineer in government, chief engineer, engineer in chief in government, superintending engineer in government. You are real engineers. You have to control engineering, but no, you are not control engineering because your people are not doing anything. So your function is useless. What's your function? You have no difference with politicians and IS officers. They are functionless. IS officers, you are also functionless. What for you are there? How much you can criticize someone? I feel disappointed sometimes. Such a beautiful profession of engineering where you create from natural material. You do a lot of work in planning, in designing, and that think of that designer who designs a lot, works a lot, thinks a lot, considers many options, and then his design is drained into sewerage. He thinks my design is being implemented, but he doesn't think anything else because imagining. What should I say then? That's what I was saying. Drawings issued for construction, issued before that for information, that sort of drawings issued for something else, or superseded drawings or new drawings, revised drawings. There are so many classifications of drawings, and who bothers about drawing? This is side guy who gets this drawing from supervisor end or from contractor end. That person has to take care, and there should be some document person who issues this drawing to relevant persons. They all work in team, but I am sure this is not happening. This is not happening, and that is, you can say, where system fails completely. What I should say, I cannot say more than this about these drawings. I have said this drawing, various classes of drawings. There is drawing of issue for, you know, testing and goes after design estimate all issued for information drawing. Means when these are not ready for information, they just do this information only. Then later on it comes for building permit, which municipality or building, those responsible, they issue those drawings. Architectural drawings generally, they never issue structural drawings. Then issue for construction, which is finally given, and then revised designs are there. Then national annexes are there. Now national annexes and nationally determined parameters and published documents, these all relate to quality system, and these relate to European codes, particularly which are applicable now. You can adopt that. They have particular specifications of this. This is called national annexes, means where they do not fill in, these European codes do not fill in these parameters on their standards. You have to fill yourself, and that is called national annexes. You have to define depending on climatic conditions, geographical conditions, and other conditions, and you have to define nationally determined parameters which are blank left by them. You have to fill in that, and then you have to some document publish them, publish documents with certain variation to meet requirement. These are all given in your European codes, but we have not taken care yet of European codes. We are just in imaginary stage. The people are using them, but contractually we are not doing that. We are not established any national staff. I don't know, our bureau Indian standards are working on that or no. It's their duty to produce these documents, but they are not produced, I'm sure, and all other necessary literature definitions I'll take further later on, because it's time, it's good time now. It's already a lot around 3:49. Well, we have gone a long way, and I'll try to stop it now to continue later on, because it's voluminous and talk can move for hours, and I don't want to waste your time also. So I'll take your leave now and move further. Thank you very much for today's talk. Continue later on. Bye.